Jonathan Taylor has left Colts Camp. Personal, but he is not there. More of a reason to avoid Jonathan Taylor in 2023. This guy has got to be one of the biggest avoids in all of 2023. I don't care if he's sitting there at 3.1. I can find a player at 3.1 that I like better than Jonathan Taylor. I don't care if it sounds good. Third drafted player, Jonathan Taylor. He once was the number one overall pick. He's not the number one overall pick right now, and probably will never return to that form. He's in a bad situation on top of a whole bunch of other moving parts, bad red flags. We'll talk about JT. We'll talk about Devontae Adams, an Amon-Ra St. Brown injury update, Miles Sanders injury update, Breece Hall, Addison, Mitchell. We're doing it live. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So JT has left camp for personal reasons. I'll read this off to you here. This report from NBC Sports says Colts announced that Jonathan Taylor has left camp for personal reasons and his absence is excused. It's excused, but at this point, it's like, what more can a fantasy football or prospective fantasy football owner take in terms of Jonathan Taylor news? Because he's got potentially 2 injuries. He says he's not injured via the back, but we know that that's probably not true, to at least to some degree. He's also got the injured ankle, which hampered him all year last year, and he's literally had months and months and months to recover from that. And now Jonathan Taylor is still struggling with that. He's limping around. He's clearly hobbled, and he's completely unhappy. He doesn't want to be in Indianapolis. He wants a new contract, and he doesn't necessarily want a new contract because he wants to stay in Indy, just like Jacobs doesn't want to be in Las Vegas. But running backs have a short window of time. You either get paid somewhere big where you're happy, or you get paid somewhere big where you're not happy, and you're willing to take that hit because your shelf life is so short. JT doesn't want to be in Indianapolis. He doesn't feel wanted in Indianapolis, but if they offered him a big fat extension, he would take it because that is his one window, his one opportunity. So don't confuse him maybe wanting a deal still as anything but I got to get the bag. I got to get the bag. If he goes out there and has a bad season or gets injured and tries to potentially get this kick-started in 2024, he ain't getting anything in 2024. He's not. Look at the running back market in general. Look at how you're going to get under 10 mil a year if you're an RB, especially if you're an RB that can't stay healthy. And you got the case of Jacobs. I mean, Jacobs goes out there and gets injured. He's not going to get what he wants either at the end of the rainbow. So they're in a pickle. Both these guys got to come in and ball out and bet on themselves, because if they hold out, or they don't show up, or they hold in, or they get banged up and not return to the field, no one's going to see what they need to see, the eyeball test to pay the RB, which nobody's paying anyway. You got to come with the thunder before you can go to a team and say, hey, pay me big money. I don't know what delusional world maybe Jacobs and JT might be in, that they can not have a baller season and at the end of all of this have a team that's willing to pay them, because barely a team will be even willing to pay them a lot less, substantially less than they want, if they even pay them at all. 1 year, 2 year deal. That's the way the NFL is right now. I want to clarify that we are breaching a new territory of RB, a morphed and evolved running back position in Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker, who I believe will catch more passes this year, and Etienne, who I believe will catch more passes this year, and a bunch of other running backs, of course. But the changing of the guard, as you heard on this channel, that's the phrase we use, changing of the guard has happened at quarterback already. The changing of the guard is happening as we speak at the wide receiver and at the running back position, and soon to be tight end position as Kincaid climbs up the ladder and becomes the number one tight end potentially in fantasy football 2024 and beyond. We'll see what he does in 2023. We know what time it is with Dalton Kincaid. The rest of the world doesn't yet know that they're going to get Kincaided. We know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. We know what time it is. It's Dalton Kincaid season. So buckle up. It's going to be a long year if you don't see this guy coming from a mile away. Because we've been trying to tell you. He's coming. He's coming for fantasy football tight end doubters everywhere. And he's going to drop massive loads all over the field in 2023. And every single one of you Kincaid doubters out there are going to come crawling back. And we're going to tell you to take a As for JT, complete avoid. Smitty, but he's so good, Smitty. You're telling me. And I get this question a lot. Hey, Smitty, you're telling me if I came to you tomorrow and said he returned, he's 100% from the ankle, you don't like Jonathan Taylor, Smitty? No, I don't, Bob. The reason I don't like JT is all of the red flags piling up like a big load of laundry that needs to be tossed in a washer that's broken. There's no way to even wash the red flags at this point. You can't make them clean. This guy's got a vulturing situation, an offense that's changing and sculpting around the quarterback right now, and he's going to vulture touchdowns. He's not there learning the system and the changes and everything that's going on in this system right now. He's not there experiencing what he needs to experience, meshing with the team. Look at Deebo Samuel's holdout and how off he was all year long. JT is going to be off. He's going to start off not in tune. Even if he was healthy, even if he was on the field 80-90% of the snaps, we don't even know what the team is looking at in terms of workload divide there in Indianapolis. So then you have the potential injury concern because he's still hampered from the ankle that kept him out all pretty much a majority of the season, and he's had so much time to recover from that. Something else is going on. If a player is literally struggling with an ankle injury, months and months and months, you're talking like 6 months. This guy's been dealing with this 6-7 months. He's been dealing with the after effects of the ankle injury that took out his season. Why on earth would anybody believe his ankle will hold up in 2023? It's beyond me. Then we've got the back issue, which may or may not be as bad as the Colts have made it out to be, but he said, JT, that there was no back issue. There was no back issue. I haven't reported a back issue. And then what happened? It was Rappaport or Schefter that found a report and said, just to clarify, here is an issue where he was listed with a back injury. And it was reported he's clearly got a back issue. You see him walking around like this. He's walking around like this at practice, almost like he's doing the pregnant waddle, and he's sitting around there, unable to move around. Look, I understand. Look at this man, top 5 running back. If anybody missed yesterday's show, we sent Tony Pollard to Mars.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Marsman.
He is now Marsman extraordinaire.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
And we're going to add JT to the Marsmen list. Just kidding. Sorry, that was mean. That was uncalled for. There really was no need for that. I'm sorry, JT. JT's a no-go. JT, if you're watching, and I don't think you are, because you're not even at camp. Football's not even on your mind. Football is so far away from your mind right now. There's no way you'd watch my show, let alone anybody's show. So JT, this one's for you. You are, no offense, a complete avoid right now. I get what he's going through. I get what RBs are going through. I do really realize the impact and the sadness these guys go through on a daily basis, watching these quarterbacks land monster contracts, watching DeAndre Hopkins land big money, watching other players at different positions land big, huge deals. Tight ends are getting paid way more than RBs. Kickers and running backs are on the same level in terms of pay tier, and that might change, and kickers could go above them $2, $3, $4 million more than running backs. Who the hell knows? But as I said earlier, we're sitting at a point in time, at a tipping point, at a potential evolution of the running back position, turning from RB into W. Not into WR, into just straight one letter, one character, W for weapon. And Jahmyr Gibbs going in the top 12, and you've got Bijan Robinson going in the top 10. Some call him Bijan, Bijane, Bijer. There's a whole lot of different people pronouncing Bijan. Take away their Bijan card. You can't say Bijan's name right.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
You talk about Bijan in a positive light, act like you know this is your guy, and you can't say his name.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Everybody that you know, everybody you've ever spoken to, I'm taking away their Bijan card too if you cannot pronounce his name properly.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, changing the dynamic of the running back role and position, and what teams are going to look for and how they're going to draft for it, how players are going to prepare to become RBs, and that will take a little bit of time to evolve, the evolution trickling down to high school levels and college levels, but it's already kind of there, and this has been in the making for a while. The smaller player was discarded 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Even wide receivers that were the size of Tank Dell would have never been given a starter shot. Would never have been given a starter shot. Not anymore. Not anymore. Rule changes allowing wide receivers not to get manhandled after they get downfield. The rule changes allowing guys like Tank Dell to become Antonio Browns, not manhandled players. Hey, Smitty, you're really high on Devontae Smith. And I don't know if a lot of you remember, I said he'd be a top 5 wide receiver. Now, granted, I don't know that right now I even put him in my top 5. He's more like 8 to 10. Okay, so I'm backing off my own original when he was a rookie, when he hadn't taken a snap yet. I was very bullish on him, but I believe he did pretty much earn very close to that value in all of our minds. He was close to being a top 5 wide receiver. And if A.J. Brown went down, a receiver I love, he comes on the show once in off season, whether it's on IG Live or actually I go on his Instagram, to be fair, and talk to him. And I haven't this offseason. I don't know that I am going to get him on or me go on his live, but I love A.J. Brown. I want everybody to understand that. A.J. Brown is an absolute monster, and he's the most efficient wide receiver in the National Football League because he gets 1,400 yards off of 80 receptions. Like, that's unreal. And he's a beast. He's an absolute gem. He's glory. He's everything we want in a wide receiver. Dominant, fast, good hands, physical, touchdown, capable, 12 plus, 14 plus touchdown capable of more receptions, but he's one of the most efficient players in the National Football League at the wide receiver position. But what he is, though, is an injury risk, and I'm not saying to avoid him. I'm just saying that if Devontae Smith is the lone number 1 wide receiver in that Philly offense for a string of games anytime in the next, 2, 3, 4 seasons, and A.J. Brown will slow down with the knee injuries because the knee issues, cutting away at meniscus, knee issues in general, they don't typically get better. They only get worse. So in Dynasty, I'd rather have Devontae Smith than A.J. Brown. And that might not set well with a lot of people, especially A.J. If he's watching. A.J., you're my boy. Put your earmuffs on for a minute. I do believe he's going to be dominant for a handful of years. My point is Devontae Smith, and I'm going on such a sidetrack. Devontae Smith is top 5 to 8 wide receiver capable if he's the lone starter, which is not a hard thing to imagine with A.J. Brown constantly needing cleanup issues and surgeries with his knees. And you hear these things after the fact, like A.J. Brown had knee surgery. When? When? Breaking news, 2 months ago, A.J. Brown had a cleanup knee surgery. And you're like, what? What? What are we talking about here? When did this happen? Breaking news! Breaking news!
From the fantasyfootballshow.com news desk.
Breaking news, several months ago, something happened. But it sounds okay. We've heard that before. You know what I'm saying? And, this is a slogan that we started talking about a few days ago. It seems to be catching. It's not going away, I don't think. I think it's only going to catch on. We built this Smitty. We built this Smitty on rock and roll. Thank you, Stanton. I appreciate you dropping that. It's definitely not going away. It's not going away. It's not. Ty Lee in the building. Ty Lee, do you got any film on JT? Ty Lee is the guy, if anybody forgets, that came into our live stream and said, Smitty, I have news on Joe Burrow. And we said, wait, what do you mean? He goes, there's film on him that could take him down. And if coaches and opposing defenses get footage of this Joe Burrow film that I have, he's going to be done. He's cooked. Every defense will know what to do moving forward. If this gets out, Joe Burrow's done. And we said, Ty, is this like off the field footage? No, this is just my high school coach figured out Joe Burrow by watching film, and he's waiting on releasing it for the right price. So Ty Lee, if Ty Lee doesn't like one of your players and he says he's got film on him, you better just run for the hills because Ty Lee is coming for blood. And he's been waiting and waiting to release this Joe Burrow footage. Joe Burrow reportedly is petrified that Ty Lee's high school coach might figure him out and let everyone know how to shut him down. And Ty's serious. Ty's very serious. Trevor Lawrence needs to be a moon man. I can't put this info out there, but Smitty's sleeping on Trevor Lawrence. Hey, Ty, what in the hell are you talking about now? Trevor Lawrence needs to be a moon man? Where have you been? What are you doing with your life, Ty Lee? Let me show you the Moon Man list for a second.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
What in the hell does this guy look like he's doing at the bottom of the Moon Man list? Pay attention, Ty. Pay attention, Ty. And while you're at it, take a lap. Okay, enough of this guy. Ty, you've wasted like 3 minutes of the show. Okay, back on point. You're sleeping on Trevor Lawrence. Oh yeah, that's why I spent 7 hours making 2 different animations while my family's waiting on me for dinner one night, and I just sat here working away on my Trevor Lawrence game.
A lion lives among us, posing as half-man, half-lawman. His golden mane is reportedly 6 feet long and is bathed in milk.
That's right.
His marvelous mane grows longer with each breath he takes. Legend has it that if you say T-Law in the dark in the bathroom 3 times, you lose your league instantly. Conspiracy fanatics have linked his triangle bone structure to the ancient pyramids and alien theory.
Imagine coming into someone's live stream and telling them that they're sleeping on a player that you're plugging constantly and ignoring your family and making 7 hours worth of animations so you can keep hitting buttons over and over and over. Imagine coming into someone's live stream, how disrespectful it is to come into someone's live stream, and somebody said that in here, which is absolutely true. Disrespectful, not knowing the damn Moon Man list. What is wrong with you, Ty Lee? What is wrong with you? I'm taking away your Bijan card just for being completely unaware Unger.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Back on track. Devontae Smith, which was a sidetrack of a sidetrack of a sidetrack. I don't know how the hell I'm going to get back on point because I'm literally like 7 sidetracks in degrees of separation away from where I was going. I think I was just going to say something along the lines of Devontae Smith, I love him. He's a top 5 wide receiver. If, let's say, A.J. Brown goes down, knock on wood, we love A.J. Brown. No one's saying bad things about A.J. Brown. But the point is, you can't, where was I? Manhandling wide receivers. You can't do that in the NFL anymore because of rule changes. And he was supposed to be manhandled. That's where I was going with this. Smitty, his rookie year, he could be a top 5 wide receiver, which again, I missed by like 2 drafts, two slots, 2 wide receiver slots. He's about 7 or 8. Okay, he's about 7 or 8. And I was about a year late because it took a little longer. But I said top 5 wide receiver in the making. Smitty, you're an idiot. And after year 1, you know what people did in that story post on my or that YouTube reel or short is, this aged well. This aged well. Smitty, wow, 1 year into his career, this aged well. He did blossom late, a little later than I would like, but he's there. And guess what? He can't be manhandled. He can't be manhandled. I think I got on that tangent because I was trying to say that running backs are changing. Look, it's coming back to me. Running backs are changing, and Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan and smaller running backs in the future that are like Jahmyr Gibbs, 205 pounds, 200 pounds even, if you drench them in water, that's fine. You can be 200 pounds. You can be 5'10", 200 pounds, 6 foot, 199 pounds. You can be that kind of running back, and you can thrive in the NFL because the running back is changing. And why did I go on that tangent? I think I was trying to say that running backs aren't getting paid. And yes, there we go. We're back. Tylee almost derailed the show, but not on my watch, Tylee. I'm back, baby. What I was trying to say is Jonathan Taylor is looking at a bleak market. And it's not going to necessarily reset for him. It's not going to reset in time for Jacobs. It's not going to reset in time for a lot of the older dogs. But for Gibbs and Bijan and Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker and Travis Etienne and other RBs that are younger, they may essentially see the weaponry type of running back player out there, the weapon, the monster, the Swiss Army knife that actually is pliable in an offense to an extreme degree, not just a partial type of player that can be on the field, off the field. You got to keep him healthy, so you can only use him sparingly, like Cordell Stewart. No, this is actually a workhorse. Alvin Kamara is kind of the blueprint of this type of running back, right? Alvin Kamara is too small. What did I say about Alvin Kamara? And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. If you're new, I thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire was going to be a top 5 running back. Okay, it is what it is. You miss some, you land some. Again, not all pats on the back. Okay, so humble moment right there. But a lot of us like Clyde, by the way. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire was similar. He was smaller. He was not the usual running back, and people ran away from that. And that didn't scare me away from liking the next running back. That didn't scare me away from calling Najee Harris his rookie year, which he was a top 10 overall player, and drafting him at 10, 11, 12 was scoffed at. You were an alien if you were drafting him that high. We did it. We won leagues. He was amazing his rookie year. It didn't shy me away from going Bijan number 1 overall running back, probably from like March on, or actually when he landed in his draft slot, or I'm sorry, with his team, Atlanta Falcons, he probably then vaulted it to my number 1 overall running back slot. I want to say he was 1, 2, he was top 5 or 6 overall all offseason. Once he was handed the Atlanta Falcon landing spot, that's when I jumped in and said, he's number 1. He's RB number 1 over Christian McCaffrey, which still shocks a lot of people. But my whole point is, Kamara, back in the day when he came onto the scene, your boy said top 1 to 5 running back. He wasn't even the starter. He landed in a cloudy situation in New Orleans, and I'm sitting here saying he's a top 5 running back. Ridiculed to the moon. I don't care. I get ridiculed all the time. It's fine. It's par for the course. We're not cookie cutter here. We're absolute machines and monsters here that do fantasy football part-time. We're monsters full-time, and that's how we roll. And so your boy came out and said, Kamara, top 1 to 5 running back. Yeah, that's what we're doing, buddies. And he eventually became one. I'm not scared of the profile. I'm not scared of the smaller stature. He proved he can handle the workload. He's proven that his body type is fine for a hybrid role, which a hybrid role can be a workhorse. I can't stand when people tell me that Derrick Henry's a workhorse and Alvin Kamara's not. They're both workhorses. They're getting their volume differently, but they're both getting massive volume. Kamara's a workhorse. You can call him a hybrid workhorse if you can't wrap your head around what I'm saying. And so Jahmyr Gibbs, even Bijan, who's built more like a traditional workhorse, will be evolved and turned into a Jahmyr Gibbs type player. Bijan will be half or 40% wide receiver and 60% running back. Jahmyr Gibbs might be the inverse of that. He might be 60% wide receiver, 40% running back, maybe even 65% wide receiver. And that's neither here nor there. They're both getting massive volume. The non-PPR running back is gone. When you say, do you play in non-PPR or do you play in PPR? Which I don't know why you would play non-PPR. Your grandmother doesn't even play in non-PPR anymore. Shape up. And if you're the commissioner, shame on you for not changing that and forcing it upon everybody. There's no content out there for non-PPR. 0.5. Go 0.5 at least. But to my point, when there's a change in scoring like that, 1 point PPR, half point PPR, or 0, non-PPR, the only thing that changes now, the running backs move together in a clump. Up and down, the wide receivers either move up a little bit in PPR a little bit, or they move down and the running backs move up. But you don't have a shift like you used to have where, okay, Derrick Henry's going to go to the top in non-PPR, and then this running back's going to vault up here. Now every running back is a PPR running back. That has been the evolution we've been seeing slowly, and people aren't noticing it. Like you put a frog in boiling water, he jumps out. You put a frog in lukewarm water, and you turn it on high. He sits there and he has a little warm bath. And by the end of the 10 minutes, he's boiling to death and he has no idea. No one's noticed the evolution of the running back position that's already taking place. And when people run their mouth that have been doing fantasy football analysis for 4 years, 5 years, they barely have hair on their armpits, and they come out and say, yeah, the running back's dying. I'm looking at my spreadsheet. This is Excel sheet Eric, and I'm only looking at data. I don't watch the games. I have no eye test, and I'm here to tell you that the running back is dying and going away. I'll tell you what I know from over 20 plus years of doing this professionally. 20 plus years of doing this. Everything is a cycle. Everything is a cycle. Everything is a cycle. Even Ty Lee is a cycle. If Ty Lee left tomorrow, we would have a new Ty Lee in about a year and a half. There would be a new Ty Lee, exactly the same kind of guy. If Swaggy left today, Swaggy doesn't get on my nerves like he used to. I actually enjoy Swaggy. He's like that kid that's, at school, you're like, he's here today. But then when Swaggy doesn't come, I'm like, where's Swaggy? So Swaggy, take that with a grain of salt. But if Swaggy left, everything's a cycle. It would come back around. Running backs, they vanished. They were dead. Before Zeke Elliott entered the league, I can't tell you from a professional standpoint, hearing people say the running back is dead. And I'm like, and even at that point, I've been in the industry a long time when Zeke was getting drafted. I've been in this 20 plus years. When Brady left, that was the one player I entered fantasy football professionally when Tom Brady came onto the scene. That's why I took it so hard, is when he retired, I was like, you're leaving me by myself, Brady. He's the only player that was left. I've literally watched every player leave the league from a professional seat. And now Tom Brady leaves, and I feel lost. But when before Zeke Elliott landed onto the scene, guess what happened? People said the running back's dead. The workhorse running back's dead. And it felt dead. It felt like it was dying. Zeke Elliott came in. Boom. Changed it. Bijan Robinson was just drafted inside the top 10. What are you talking about that the running back's dead? It's evolving. How in the hell does the running back die when Jahmyr Gibbs went at number 12, Bijan was in the top 10, you had both RBs going inside the top 12. How in the hell is the running back dying? They aren't getting paid, but this weapon, this new position is going to revolutionize it, and it's going to go very, very quickly, and we really do need them to deliver. You know what I'm saying? If they deliver, then that's going to help change and reset the market and change the landscape. But you know what doesn't help, which is the whole point of this conversation? This man right here holding out making himself more injury prone than ever. Back to the red flag. Smitty, you have had the longest sidetracked intro in the history of fantasy football shows. We're 29 minutes and 38 seconds left, and I'm just now getting back to JT. JT has so many red flags. Red flag number 1, he's injured. Red flag number 2, he's injured again, we think, back. Red flag number 3, vulturing situation. Red flag number 4, he's not there to absorb this changing offense and be a part of it and learn it and mesh into it. Red flag number, what are we at, 5? He's been holding in and holding out and not performing, not playing, and he's injured. And so guess what? He's more susceptible to injury because holdouts lead to injury. 8 times, 7 times out of 10, just a very educated guess on that percentage. I'm being honest, I'm pulling that out of my rear end right now, but it feels right. There's I'd say a 7 to 8 out of 10 chance that you're going to have some sort of injury during the season that maybe you wouldn't have had because you're being thrown to the wolves and you're not ready. And this goes to Breece Hall for a moment where I'm going to be very honest with you, and I'm not doing any sort of backtracking. I'm merely seeing this from a very positive angle, and this is not me trying to find the good in the situation. But Breece Hall was probably, as much as I didn't want to admit it, going into week 1 at his current state where he's a little bit behind Javonte now, which has been an evolving thing the last couple weeks because he felt like he was way ahead. We'll get to Breece Hall in a minute. But Breece Hall being thrown to the wolves would have probably put him in a position to get hurt. Just a hamstring injury. I'm not saying an ACL tear again or something, but some sort of hamstring injury, some sort of compensation injury. One of those injuries that people say, this is why you avoid a running back every time they have an ACL tear. Because technically speaking, if he didn't come back, and he still might, I believe in an open ability to navigate the situation as it evolves because the news will change. He's got like 20 plus something days to go out there and rehab still on the field and get further and further and further embedded into the workload and everything going on at practice. And so by opening day, he might be 100%. So keep that in mind. But at the current state of things, Dalvin Cook does feel, and we're touching on it here. We got to go back to JT in a second because now we're heading toward the Dalvin Cook tangent. I'm sorry, the Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook tangent. So I would say this. I would say that at the end of the day, this is a blessing in disguise, I think, for Breece Hall. Number 1, you're getting Breece Hall in the 5th and 6th round right now. You get him in the 5th and 6th round. There's no argument. Your argument's ridiculous if you come in here and say go forward. Okay, it sucks in the past. You've already drafted Breece Hall. It sucks. What are you gonna do? Lie about it? It sucks. You're now seeing a shirt that you're about to buy, or that you just bought, go half off, more than half off. You bought a $100 shirt. It's on sale for $42.99 now. It's a great shirt. There's nothing wrong with it. You're just seeing it on sale for $42.99, and you're pissed off. That's what happened pre-news of Dalvin Cook signing with the New York Jets. That's it. Nothing else has really changed other than he'll have a slower start than we expected. We already expected him to have an eased-in workload. So let's say he gets 2 to 4 or 5 carries in week 1. Then he gets 8 in week 2. He gets 10 in week 3. I don't care. He's still winning you a league. Okay, so I'm not backing off anything. I'm just telling you that at the end of the day, it does feel very positive that Dalvin Cook is there so that this man, who may not be quite as ready as we wanted him to be, and this has been evolving, right? Because he was so ahead of schedule. I don't know if he suffered a setback. I don't know what happened. If we find out that, we'll definitely have more knowledge as to why things went kind of like up sharply and then kind of leveled out and plateaued, whereas Javonte was kind of, and then Javonte just went to the moon. Javonte's not at risk like Breece Hall would be of having a compensation injury because Javonte's out there doing work in August and doing massive amounts of work. He's doing work, but he's doing straight line work and he's working on his cutting. He's got a ton of time, 20 plus days to get his cutting down and get very close. But I am a little fearful if we were to go back in time 2 weeks from now and you would tell me that 2 weeks from now, Smitty, which is today, he will still be where he's at right now, where we know he's at. I would probably say to you, there's a little bit of risk that he is breaching. He's getting now behind where he was ahead, He's still light years ahead of where Barkley and J.K. were their first years back, because he's right where they were, and he's got 20-plus days still. So Breece Hall's still light years ahead of where they were. But Breece Hall going out there on the field, cutting but not necessarily feeling as good as Javonte is, would probably lead to some sort of hamstring injury, a calf injury, hamstring. Sometimes Achilles can creep up, and that's career ending. You know, you suffer an Achilles tear, you're probably done. Akers is going to try and prove everybody wrong on that, but he hasn't done so far. And compensation injuries and getting hurt again, tearing your other Achilles, is very common for a player that has torn their Achilles or tearing an ACL or tearing something, because you're compensating on the good leg because you still don't trust the Achilles. You're not exploding off that leg as much. You may think you are, you may say you are, but you're not. Akers will always be scared, at least for the next couple years, planting and exploding off of that bad leg that will make him compensate, and therefore another opposite leg injury will probably fast forward or save this clip and clip it later in week 4. He has a devastating injury to the opposite leg than his Achilles. We'll run it back. But Breece Hall, silver lining is that Dalvin Cook is there to make sure he's a league winner. And if we had to buy him in a third round value, guess what? I wouldn't be as excited about it. And I probably wouldn't even buy him at third round value right now. That's me being completely honest and giving you my not change in direction, but my adjust and adapt feedback. And this is what you come here for, because I'm not going to dig in and say something just because I've said it before. That's not this show. I don't do that. I never do that. Even when you think I'm doing that, I truly believe in what I'm saying. Just like when people come in and say, Smitty, you can't possibly like Jalen Hurts like you can't call him a top 1 to 5 quarterback. Look at all the quarterbacks that are out there. I truly do believe it. I truly do believe these things. I don't just spit out a bunch of lies or double down. I'm telling you right now, at the end of the day, this Dalvin Cook situation is probably the best thing for Breece Hall's 2023 season. Because what would happen is he'd go out there, if he's still a little bit behind, and he'd tear something. He would tear a hamstring in a best case scenario. He'd tear the other ACL in a worst case scenario. He'd tear the Achilles in a worst case scenario. I'm not saying it'd be guaranteed. He'd have swelling. He's going to have swelling now. He's reporting swelling. He's got occasional soreness in the knee. That's common. Javonte probably has occasional soreness in the knee too. That's just not being reported. When you come back from an ACL tear, your knee goes straight to the fire. And this meniscus specifically, it kind of hurts a little bit because, and I've had this myself, when you plant and you're jamming down on that meniscus and you're not used to doing that, your knees had a big break. It's like it's like getting bruised. It feels like your meniscus is getting bruised. You're out there just hitting it hard, cutting left, cutting right, doing all these things that you're not used to doing because you're keeping it safe and protected, and you're trying to be the best, have the best comeback and recovery you can by not tearing it, not going out and doing something stupid too early. So you're gonna have swelling, you're gonna have soreness. This is the best thing that could have happened to Breece Hall's 2023 value. I know that sounds confusing. I know that sounds like you think I'm doubling down, but I'm telling you, league winner. And the most beautiful part is he's falling to 4, 5, 6. In 4, I probably still look around for other players and draft them over Breece Hall. That's me being honest, because what I want is to take the chance that he falls to 5. He's falling to 5 and 6 in so many leagues. I would take the chance if you're drafting and he's there in 4. I have a lot of people asking me this question right now. Smitty, do you take Breece Hall in 4 if he's there? The answer is unfortunately no, because I'm willing to roll the dice, throw it on the table, and see if he falls to round 5. Because if he does, I'm winning leagues. You're winning leagues. I'm winning leagues. You're winning leagues, Bob. Everyone's winning leagues if you get Breece Hall in 5, especially 6. So no, I'm not drafting him in 4. I'm rolling the dice. And if he gets snagged, he gets snagged. There's plenty of good talent around 4. That's how I feel about Breece Hall. That's the update on Breece Hall. Back to Jonathan Taylor. Similar to how I'm being honest that Breece Hall given where he's at, given that he's going to be, unless he, in the next 20, 23 days, whatever, he starts ramping it up and he's amazing. We hear a Javonte Williams spike. Then we're back on the train. We're right back on the train. That's the nature of these things. You've got to monitor, adjust, and adapt. This is not a who's going to predict it first and just get lucky that it all worked out. You have to maneuver as the news comes in. JT, this is similar. If we're worried about Breece Hall, we're worried about JT. JT is going to have an ankle that might, if he's lucky, be barely ready for week 1. And he's going to have compensation problems and tear something else or re-injure it. This is the biggest avoid in fantasy football 2023. There are still people that are digging their heels in because they own him in Dynasty or they own him in a league already. And you know they're fighting this fight because they don't want to admit that he's not worth a second-round pick. He's not worth a third-round pick. This guy is the biggest fool's gold you could have in 2023 unless he gets traded or something and then heals up or has been faking the injury and he gets traded and he goes somewhere and balls out. Those are variables you can't control. They're variables you should not bank on. Jonathan Taylor is arguably the biggest avoid in all of 2023 fantasy football. Completely Smitty disapproved.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
And yes, Breece Hall will be 8 foot tall. And to clarify, if anybody has any confusion on Breece Hall's situation for 2023, he is going to win leagues for you. In 2023, not 2024. I saw you, ATL, say Breece Hall 2024. Don't worry about him in 2023. You don't think I see everything. A lot of people think I don't look at the chat. I'm reading the chat. I'm watching TV. I've got the novelas on right there. I'm translating into Espanol. I'm drinking a drink here. I've got another drink over here. I've got my YouTube exclusive membership monitoring over here. You don't think I know what's going on my own live stream? And imagine when we open up the phone lines. Some of you, your mind would explode if you had to do all of the moving things that I've got going on. Now, and the membership, Mac, appreciate you joining the membership. Let's get to the super chats real quick before we get to the remaining pieces of news. James with the $2 hauler, first super chat of the day. James, appreciate you. James, appreciate you. James, is anybody that has their super chat, I'm coming for you. When we're in rant mode, these pile up and it's good. You want to get your super chat in so you can get it answered quicker. Bijan looking real good at 1.1 now with the running back situations. Absolutely, James. And the rest of the world's going to slowly get behind that, I think. Right now, everyone's saying, I've got a bold take. You watch some kind of other fantasy show, and you don't need to do that because I'm live enough that you don't need to do that. But if they come in and go, I've got a bold take, Bob. Oh, yeah, Steve? What's your bold take, Steve? My bold take, Bobby, is that... You ready? Bijan's my running back 1. Oh, that's spicy. Yeah, here's the reason why. Because you're all probably shocked right now, and you think this is interesting. Get in line, and your Bijan card's been revoked.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Every other fantasy channel out there, I don't care who you are, I don't care if I like you. Your Bijan card's been revoked.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
You can't come in now and say Bijan's your running back 1. Already been done.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
But I like him. Already been invented.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
Breece Hall will fall to 5 feet tall, says Ty Lee. Ty Lee, you don't know nothing about nothing right now. Until you show us this Joe Burrow footage, nobody's believing anything you're saying, Ty, until you bring what you've been promising to bring to the live stream. This footage of Joe Burrow getting figured out by your high school coach. Your high school coach has got the film. He's got the film on 8-track. Anthony, $2 hauler. I'll see Kincaid and I super chat. I see Kincaid and I super chat. Oh! Every time he sees Kincaid, he super chats. Let's test this out. I won't abuse it, but I'm going to test it once in a while. Anthony? Let's see if this actually works. He sees Kincaid and he just has to super chat. I'm going to be very, very intrigued. And again, I won't abuse it, Anthony, but I might press that button whenever we need markers, whenever we need batteries for the megaphone, which these batteries have lasted quite a while. I imagine they're getting close to needing new ones. I'm going to test this out, if you don't mind. Tanner dropping a $2 hauler. Josh Allen, Eckler, or Waddle, last round keeper. Josh Allen, Eckler, Waddle, last round keeper. I probably go, if it's one QB, I assume that I'm going to get a quarterback at a reasonable price. However, that's fantastic value, Josh Allen, as a last round keeper. Eckler's got the 1 year left. I would say that if you have confidence that you can replenish your keeper spot very easily to where you have a dilemma no matter what, then it doesn't really matter if it's an older player or not. You know what I'm saying? You got to really examine that part of the equation. I think Josh Allen goes in round 2, 3, so, that's really not that different than Waddle. And it's not that Anthony, it does work. It does work. Axe, appreciate your super chat. Anthony dropped a super chat. Kincaid wins leagues, period. He sees Kincaid. I'm going to try this a little later in the show if Anthony's still in here. We just might hit it once in a while. Not necessarily every day, but I'm going to see if it works. Axe238, thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate you, my guy. Axe to the moon. I kind of want to use Josh Allen here. Eckler's interesting for sure, obviously. And if you could argue that Eckler and then you grab another quarterback, but last round keeper, I don't know if you can keep anybody as your last round keeper though. Last round keep. I'm assuming that so if that's the case, then I guess I would take Eckler because next year one of your players can be your last round keeper if it doesn't matter where they were drafted. All those details kind of matter. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to figure totally what you're saying. Put JT on the Mudman list. JT is definitely potentially a Planet Uranus man list because he's not doing anybody any favors by holding out. And he's got no ability to go out and, I think, deliver on our fantasy football expectations by just not being there, by then being excused again. Jared says, message you on WhatsApp, but Lamar, Dalvin for Cousins, Olave, Charbonnet. Then I go for Ken Walker and Aaron Jones. What do you think? Let's see here. Message you on WhatsApp. Lamar, Dalvin for Cousins, Olave, Charbonnet. Lamar, Dalvin. I would probably do that. I don't like going from Lamar to Cousins, but it on paper, it makes sense though. The Cousins can deliver. So thank you for the $5 hauler on that. I want Olave. I want Charbonnet. Dalvin Cook doesn't have much time left. Lamar is very injury prone. So at the end of the day, am I trying to flip Cousins? I am, but it doesn't seem like that crazy of a down step to get those other pieces. So I'd take the Cousins side. Dobbins over Taylor at this point. Bro, neither. Last action hero, neither. I want neither. I want nothing to do with either one of those players. JK is probably, as risky at this point. And we have news on that in a second. I have a fever. Only prescription is more megaphone. Thank you, Chubbs. Chubbs, I hope your fever feels better. Appreciate you. Cortez with a super chat says, first time chatter and second show. Hey, Smitty, I got offered in Dynasty League Rodgers, Hopkins, and Kittle for my Burrow and Garrett Wilson. You don't do that trade. You keep your guys. Kittle does not move the needle. He could disappear and have an injury-plagued season. Do not trade Burrow and Garrett Wilson. Totally Smitty disapproved that trade offer. No. And Cortez, thank you to the moon, Cortez, for dropping his very first super chat and being here his second day doing it. And Cortez, you are the man. Cortez, you still here? Zach, is trading Madison for a second rounder solid? Probably not. I imagine you can get more. Zach, and if you can't, just wait. Not everything has to be done before week 1. You guys want some of the best advice, general, weird, kind of no-brainer, obvious advice that nobody really thinks about or follows? Not every trade has to be done before week 1. I know everybody feels like they got to have everything solidified going into week 1, but guess what? Week 1 is only week 1. If you're to make all these trades, buy low, sell high on Madison, you have a better opportunity of selling Madison high after a big game in week 1. He could plummet and do nothing, but you're not getting what you want from him anyway. I would take the chance that he has some kind of nice game, and there's some guys you can buy low on. Every week from weeks 1 through like 6, there'll be buy lows that shouldn't be buy lows that we all know are going to rebound, and everybody's panicking like Peter all over the place. Panic Peters everywhere. That's some of my favorite content weeks 1 through 6 are the buy low, sell high videos. 10-team half PPR. Nothing. Appreciate you, nothing, for dropping the super chat. 10-team half PPR. Josh Allen, Chubb, ETN, AJ Brown, Cooper, Madison, Pacheco, Kirk, Waller, Pittman, JSN, Komet. What do you think? I think in a 10-team league, this is pretty solid. I don't know. I guess I would say in this situation in a 10-man, I probably wouldn't go early Josh Allen. I'd rather go early Fields or Burrow or Trevor Lawrence just so you can get that extra player in there. Because 10-team leagues are the ones where, like if I get screwed out of Burrow or Fields and T. Law, then Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love combined would get it done. And so with the quarterbacks being so deep in a 10-man environment, you can scoop up more of those big guns. That's the only reason I don't think this is a 9 or a 10 out of 10. And I'm just being honest so you have that feedback going into your next draft. But it doesn't mean you drafted a bad team. That team's very, very good. So nice job. Did I find a way to get those polls going for trades like you did the other day? That was exciting. Or need to find a way. Yeah, we need to have 2 people on the line that want to make a trade, though. Or I just do that for trades in general. We're going to do that. That probably, no matter what, we'll have a trade like video. Maybe that'll be like a Wednesday night live stream. It'll be like trade discussions, and then we'll put the polls up for each of the trades. Thoughts? $20 hauler will get their trade put on a poll, and we'll let the audience vote live on it. So $20 haulers will get a voted poll on and live voting on it. It's going to be exciting and amazing. Thoughts these days on Pacheco? Love him. 6th round gem. Do I draft him in every league? No. But if you cuff him to McKinnon, it's not that scary to draft him in every league. $10 hauler. All $10 haulers get moonshots. My boy Isaac dropping fire. Just tuning in, but did I see the news that Treylon Burks having an LCL sprain? Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a second. Granted, he'll be out for weeks, but he's an injury-prone player. He's one of the most avoid players for me all offseason long. Like Treylon Burks, you guys have been here. I was saying, don't go near him. Like even before Hopkins, everyone's like, he's going to be a breakout. He's been disappointing the entire time he's been in the league. He feels like he's going to continue to disappoint, and here we are. And you could say, oh, freak injury and this and that, but some players you feel cannot hang. And I don't feel that he can hang. Let's see here. Isaac, appreciate you. Is there anything else here at this point? Chigakonkwo to the moon. Yeah, definitely with Burks' injury, Chigakonkwo to the moon. Anthony, appreciate you dropping that Kincaid news. Thank you, Axe, for dropping your super chat. Don, you need to change your Smitty disapprove pick of a thumbs down. I'll try and figure that out. Let's see if we can. We'll do something. I'll screenshot this, at some point. Let's see. I could do it now. Technically, I could do it now. Let's move this over a little bit. Let's do it live. Let me screenshot this right here. Let me screenshot this. Ready? 1, 2. I'm gonna say cheese. 1, 2.
Live from the fantasyfootballshow.com.
Whoops. All right, hold on. 1, 2. It's not working. My screenshot button's not working. Maybe I don't have it opened up. I gotta open up the app. Hold on. I don't think it's opened. Smitty, it's a video. It's not a photo. Oh, okay. We'll figure it out. I appreciate you for dropping that, Don. I will. Una familia con suerte is the best novela. I'll have to check it out. I haven't watched a novela in a while. I was kind of fibbing, but maybe we'll give it a look. $4.99 hauler from Marty. Marty, thank you for doing that. Appreciate you. I'll look and see if you've got a super chat or a question out there and you didn't attach it or something like that. I'll see if you've got something. I appreciate you dropping that super chat. Somebody says that you can watch other fantasy channels that helps more than hurts. Super disappointed he said that. I'm sorry, bro. Look, coming from somebody that has a fantasy channel in their name, I can see why you're a little disappointed that I don't want to send my audience over somewhere else. But that's the nature. You don't have to feel bad for wanting your audience to only watch you. Okay? Come on, bro. This is not. If you're not first, you're last. This is not a second place ribbons environment. Overcome, I still appreciate you, but come on, bro. Moonman better be ready for my limited edition trade launcher, says Overcome. Overcome, appreciate your $20 hauler. I just noticed there was a 20 spot, and here I am just running my mouth.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Some people crack me up, man. Some people get so upset at everything. Everything I do. Smitty, you really disappoint me, Smitty. Well, good thing I'm not here to try and impress you. I'm here to deliver news. I'm here to be a coach. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not here, even though we are friends. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to be your coach. I'm here to try and guide you to a championship. That is my number one job. But if we can be friends along the way, we certainly can. But I'm not here to pat you on the back and give you second place trophies. Pickens or Charbonnet? Give me Pickens. He's probably a wide receiver 1 this year, people. You heard me correct. Pickens could be a top 12 wide receiver, Smitty? You heard me correct. I don't put people on the Moon Men list just for fun.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
I mean, goodness gracious. Yes, Kevin Pickens, okay? And I love Charbonnet. He's on the Moon Men list too, but he's behind Walker, so Pickens gets the go-ahead there. Appreciate your super chat, Kevin. You are the man. Kevin's the man, everyone. 436 people in here, only 127 likes. Chicken little numbers, he says. So punch that button. Do it live. 130 thumbs up now. Punch the number, hit the button, whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. Nate, appreciate you. Would you take Christian Watson over Debo, Ridley, and Hopkins? I'd take Ridley, then Watson and Debo. I kind of rotate, but ultimately I like Watson better. I like the cost of entry of Watson a little better too. But Ridley's my number 1 out of that entire group, Nate, because I think Ridley's going to be an absolute machine. And guess what list he's on?
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Hey, Smitty, you're a little low on Ridley and T-Law, says probably Ty Lee. Ty Lee, Smitty, you're really sleeping on Trevor Lawrence. Actually, I'm not, because I spent 7 waking hours making 2 different animations. This is the second one that I haven't played yet for you, Ty Lee.
Law Dog Milk for Maines on sale this season. Soak your mane and win a league. Law Dog Milk.
I don't know who that disappoints, but somebody's going to get mad. Smitty, I'm very disappointed in you. Smitty, what if we don't drink milk? What if we're lactose intolerant? That's really disappointing, Smitty. Thinking of trading DJ Moore or Debo for Olave, even though I feel like I'm overpaying. It sounds like you're trading both, and the answer would be no. Don't overpay DJ Moore and Debo for Olave. That is not a good trade to make. Smitty disapproves. Yeah, you haven't been to Smitty disapproved, but that trade offer has. Smitty, Detroit, Dave here. Hey, Dave. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned it to you, but I have to say you were the first Moon Man. You were the first Moon Man videos, 100 leading the way. Yeah, there are a lot of channels, and this might maybe be why so-and-so over there said he's disappointed in me because I don't tell you to go watch other fantasy channels. A lot of people rip stuff off that we do, bro. And we see it all the time. It's everywhere. So there's one reason. And everybody shows me screenshots of people using the stuff that we do all the time. It's the nature of it. But, I'm not going to, I don't have to say this. Look, I am a one-man band, and I don't apologize for it. And I have very aggressive takes. I don't apologize for it. And we're going to be a little bit coach-like around here. There's going to be some screaming and yelling, high knees, take a lap. That's just the nature of the show. This is not going to be somewhere where you're going to see rose petals, butterflies, silver ladies, and white doves or whatever they say at your doorway. This is going to be hard nose, hit the ground, give me push-ups, take a lap. Detroit Dave here. Oh, Dave. Appreciate you, Dave. Dave's my guy. Appreciate you recognizing that, Dave, to be honest with you. It makes me feel like, I am appreciated. Hit that thumb up button. That also makes me feel pretty appreciated. 159. We got 410 in here. Punch it. Smitty, I have the 1.1, 1.2 in a 3-keeper league, and Petrified Peter isn't keeping Breece Hall. I'm going Bijan at 1. Is it Hall or Gibbs at 1.2? You got to go Gibbs, bro. I love Breece Hall, but draft the healthy player, and maybe Hall falls to you. You could go RB, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And the show loves you back. And we got David Hall dropping a $5 hauler with no message, but I'll try and go look for that as well. Smitty hit the vast majority of his takes this season. Smitty, if you hit the vast majority of the takes this season, I'll drop the biggest super chat you've ever seen. I'm not saying I don't believe you, but I have a feeling, Okafor, you're going to come in and finagle what is a vast majority. You know what I mean? Like, I just have a feeling you're going to go, but, you just not like you hit everything, Smitty. Very open-ended, but I appreciate it. And let's I'm going to trust Swaggy on this. I'm not going to say I don't believe him. Let's trust Swaggy on this. Standing ovation. Let's go, Swaggy. I love it, Swaggy. I love it, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you. Said not in a super chat. Might I remind you, I'm doing super chats. There's no super chat, but he's going to, and I appreciate him for that. Not everybody can drop a super chat. Look, sometimes the best thing you could ever do, and super chats help keep the show afloat, of course, but tell somebody about the show. That leads to super chats right there. That's the best thing people can do for me, too, is spread the word so this thing grows. Overcome says Chase Wilson Olave or Bijan Wilson Olave. Chase Wilson Olave, Bijan Wilson Olave. Okay, so really, the build doesn't affect as much as to say if it's PPR 3 wide receivers. It's such an interesting start to go 3 wide receivers. The balance is nice, too, though. I'm gonna say it does affect it because I'm wavering because of the running back and having the 2 wide receivers. Give me Bijan Wilson Olave. But I love both, and I would make both win, and I'd make both smash. And you're doing the zero running back approach, or you're doing the hero running back approach, both of which can absolutely crush, bro. So you can't really go wrong. Those are amazing starts. Smitty, firing on all cylinders, V8, let's go. Frost to the moon. Frost is getting a standing ovation for that one. I just fired me up. That one just fired me up. Sometimes I just toss out standing ovations, even though, those go to the $20 haulers. But firing on all cylinders, you bet your bottom dollar. Amon-Ra St. Brown got injured today. And you guys have seen the reason we didn't lead with this. We would have totally led with this if it was something to be concerned about. He was injured. It looked like he apparently injured his ankle. The bad news is it's the same ankle that he was hampered by last year, but the good news is it doesn't appear to be severe, and there's no indication that it's a regression or some sort of re-aggravation of last year's ankle injury. So it just happens to be the same ankle. Sometimes you can struggle with sprained ankles on the same ankle, so there is a tiny bit of concern, but not enough to really do anything about it because at the end of the day, he was jogging around. Remember Garrett Wilson sprained his ankle? Look at Garrett Wilson. There's video footage on my Instagram of him catching a missile from Aaron Rodgers today. So don't worry about it. I mean, go to my Instagram and check it out. There's a missile coming out of Aaron Rodgers' gun. And he drops back. He throws a raindrop downfield. The most beautiful thing in the world. There is music playing off the ball. It was like... And all of a sudden, this guy, Garrett Wilson, catches it like this, stops, cuts back, defender misses, he knifes across the field, a nice little stutter step, nice little swagger, and obviously they're not tackling and everything, but he took it, to the literal end zone in these practices, and in no tackling and hitting and all that, but it was phenomenal. It shows that Garrett Wilson's 100%. I'm not worried about, the whole point of that story was to say I'm not worried about this. He was seen jogging on the sideline after. So you don't jog on the sideline if your ankle is like trash or you're super concerned about the ankle, okay? So everybody can relax on the Amon-Ra St. Brown front for the moment, and we'll circle back to that on the phone lines in a minute. Melvin, $5 holler says, my boy Smitty, 14-team PPR. I have the 9 pick. Do you think I should get Barkley or Chubb at this pick, or do you like the position, or who do you like at the position? You the man. I love going the double-decker as one approach. There's a lot of good approaches, but double-decker works really well.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Amon-Ra St. Brown Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2, the double-decker.
Now, the double deuce, a.k.a. the double-decker, the double-decker, the double-double, there's tons of ways you can categorize that. Double deuce is a good one. So if you go drop 2 straight deuces and you get those wide receivers and you come into round 3 and you get Gibbs, you go into round, I don't know if you're going to do that in a 14-teamer, but you never know. Gibbs can fold to round 4 with a bunch of grandmas, and if you're drafting with people at the morgue, that's something that's possible. So if you can do the double-decker, drop 2 straight wide receiver deuces right in rounds 1 and 2, come into round 3, grab Gibbs, come into round 4, grab Walker a little early just to top it all off. You get Tila or Fields later, or you go Fields in round 4 and Walker's or Breece Hall sitting there around 5. And then you get Swift, you get Pacheco, one of those guys, Charbonnet, and then now you've done the 0 running back approach, through 2 rounds. Like you've done a little version of it, right? Little version poo of the no running back. But you could also go Barkley or Chubb. I don't blame you, but I personally like the double decker. That's what I would do. But Melvin, you got to know your own skill set, and if you're good at landing late running backs, or you think they're going to fall to you, you might want to go with the double deuce. You know what I'm saying? Reebok in the building. Speaking facts, otherwise they wouldn't have tried for Cook if A-Chain is the real deal. It's a good point that Reebok brings up. Why was Miami even talking to Dalvin Cook? But A-Chain's still got a lot of story to tell. So I think while you have a good point that why were they poking around when they've got the Niner running back stable they brought over, it's a pretty crowded room, and then now they want to look at Dalvin Cook. And the other thing to it though, Reebok, is that maybe there was a lot of talk about how much they wanted him, and there was definitely talk and there was definitely action and definitely kicking the tires, but they didn't aggressively, they didn't want to steal him away. They weren't really trying very hard. So one could argue, this is just counterpoint here, because I'm kind of in the middle. I kind of agree with you and kind of can see the other side, that maybe they didn't go strong after Cook because they do like A-Chain. But A-Chain feels like the real deal. It's just a matter of will he hold up and stay healthy. If I've got that conversation right, if I stepped in and I'm not getting it right, I apologize, but I'm stepping in late. Damien dropping, getting a YouTube exclusive membership. Let's give Damien, anybody that becomes a YouTube exclusive member, I dropped that link right now in the chat. Let me pin that link right now. YouTube exclusive member is how you support the channel. There's a $1.99 a month plan, which is, very, very cheap and affordable. And you get a green name and everybody knows you're an exclusive member. It's part of a club. It's $1.99 a month, and it supports the channel, helps keep the lights on. And the lights sometimes go off, so it's needed. Ziggy, deactivate. And they sometimes, they just turned off. They just turned off. We need more YouTube exclusive members. Appreciate my guy, Damien, for becoming a YouTube exclusive member. Let's give him a standing ovation, shall we? Anytime my eyeballs catch a YouTube exclusive member like Damien, who else joined? It was Optics. Optics joined the YouTube exclusive membership. Ziggy, activate. Anytime someone joins the YouTube... Oh, look, the lights went back on. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube exclusive member. Who else became a YouTube exclusive member while we've been live? Somebody else did. Thank you, everybody who super chatted. I think if anybody else did become one, please let me know. I can also look it up here in a second. But it definitely helps keep the lights on. There's also a $9.99 plan that allows you Zoom calls. We do Zoom calls, 2 Zoom calls every Sunday. Halftime of the morning games every Sunday but opening day, because I'm going to tell you why in a minute. And halftime of the Sunday evening game. My boy C-Mac. C-Mac in the building. I go on these Niner shows on Instagram. C-Mac is one of the guys that I go live with. He's my boy. Hi to my son Aiden. We're watching you on the big screen at home. Let's do a couple nice things for C-Mac and the boys. First of all, standing ovation for Aiden. Standing ovation for Aiden. Okay, now we're gonna make Aiden. This your dad might not like this, but you need to toughen up, son. It's a hard world out there. It's a harsh world out there, Aiden. Take a lap, start getting in shape early. That's good for you. That's good for your health. So is this. Tony Pollard. Wrong button, but very, very fitting. It's a sign. Draft Tony Pollard. And the last thing we're going to do for you, young man, is we're going to send you to the moon. You've done your lap. You've done your workout. We've done a standing ovation. And now we're sending you to the moon, Aiden.
To the moon.
All right. Appreciate you. Okay. There's Pollard again. Monster. Thank you, C-Mac. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Victor, what's high? I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'll try and find Victor's question. We got Young dropping a $4.99 holler. Says a lot of new doubters in here this time of year. Let's if they have the heart to stick around after they've proven wrong after this year's season, Smitty. A lot of people come and go. And you know what? Let me say this for a minute because I want people to think I'm some like absolute a-hole. This right here, we don't necessarily need these guys here, but maybe we talk about them in a second. But one thing I'll say here is that you always have a home here. You always have a home here. I might yell at you. I might scream and yell. I might be some kind of crazy lunatic sometimes to some of you. But we all make mistakes. We all double down. We all are human beings. We all have bias. And if, let's say, you were an anti-Bijan player and I took away your Bijan card. Okay, let's say I just said your Bijan card's been revoked.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
And let's say we argue and scream on the phone line one time. Don't think you can't come in the next day and say, Smitty, I love the show, or Smitty, and I won't even remember I yelled at you for number one. So you can slip right in the back door. Like me, when I went to college the first time, I just would show up in class in an amphitheater, and I'd go like this behind the last desk, and the amphitheater would go down, and about 5 minutes before class would end, I would just raise up at the desk and look down the amphitheater at the teacher, and the attendance sheet would come by, I'd sign it, and I'd be out of there. My class started at 10:45. No, it didn't. It ended at 11:30. My class started at 11:30. That's how Dad did it. That's how I do it. And it's worked out pretty good so far. That's what I'm talking about, okay? So you can slip in here at the end. I don't care. And you always have a home here. I don't want you to think that because we have differences and you say, oh, Smitty Bijan's going to suck, and he doesn't. You can come back. No one's going to get mad at you. We're very forgiving people, and we need you here. So disagreeing, it's good. It's good. Disagreements are definitely good. I'm hitting the wrong buttons today. Romez became a member. Romez, my guy. Love Romez. Romez is my man. Celebrating their first super chat is Fat Boy. Fat Boy celebrating his first super chat, and he does it with joy and glory, dropping a $9 hauler on screen like an absolute monster. That's how you come in hot with your first super chat, ladies and gentlemen. And thanks again, Young, for your super chat. Young has become an integral part of this show. And I know when you joined, and I won't rehash it or anything, but you were in a moment where you're like, Smitty, I need the show right now, if I remember correctly. And we've been there for you, but guess what, Young? You've been there for the show just the same, and I couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without any of you. We got 418 people in here, and I need you more than you need me, believe it or not. Okay, and that's just facts right there. Fat Boy says, thoughts on Barkley. I have the 9 pick in a 12-team league, PPR, and if I don't get Bijan, I like Barkley. He's still young and set for a huge year. I don't hate this take. We drafted him in the throne draft. I love Barkley. Barkley's a top 5 to 7 running back. But you know what? Call it crazy. I like Tony Pollard better. I just do. He's headed to the moon. I think he's headed for glory. He's the most efficient running back in the National Football League in terms of yards after contact. I mean, Pollard really turned it on. He led all running backs in 2023 in yards after contact, 3.82, I believe it was. This is an absolute monster in the making. I just like him better. Dave became a member, YouTube exclusive member. Dave! Let's try that again. Dave!
Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy. Dave becoming a member. We got a lot of members in here. They're just joining like clockwork, over and over and over. This community, I have the best job in the whole world. Look, Mom, I'm not wearing shoes. Saquon, give me Pollard. Give me wide receiver Pollard versus Barkley wide receiver. Or give me the double-decker. Go drop 2 deuces in your fantasy football draft. I got my mic a little hot right now. I think I hit it. It's kind of redlining.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Amon-Ra St. and Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2. The double-decker.
Yeah, double-decker, indeed. That would be a fun approach, but honestly, I go wide receiver and Pollard. Yeah, a Russian collusion. Can you turn that down? Hello, Russian. Can you turn off the background noise? What's going on? Okay. I hear an echo. This happened last time with your phone line. I don't know if you're calling from a fax machine or what's going on there, Russian.
No, it's my phone, damn it.
Hey,
let me turn it all off and I'll
Russian, here's what we got to do. This is like, I don't want you to change, Russian. This is entertainment. When I'm talking, just keep it muted. And then when you're talking, you can unmute it. Okay? Deal?
Yeah. Yep. Gotcha.
Go ahead.
No, I'm going to wait for you to finish your rant that you're on right now because it's awesome.
Okay, why don't you mute real quick? So I don't hear everything twice. Twice. All right, thank you. We're not muted there. Collusion. Can you mute it? Collusion. There we go. He got it. No, he didn't. Collusion. For God's sakes. Can we mute it? There we go.
I got it.
Okay. It's the big red button on the phone you got on the counter. Just hit the mute button. Okay, here we go. Fat Boy, appreciate your super chat. I'm rolling, my guy. I'm rolling. Hey, Collusion's the man. I don't want anybody. Collusion's. Some people are laughing in the chat, but hey, Collusion's the man. Absolute man. This guy's been here from the start. Collusion's my guy. Okay, so there's my take. Wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, St. Brown, and then go Tony Pollard if you want to get that RB. Thank you very much for the super chat. Let me get these super chats out of the way. Don, appreciate you. Don says, Smitty, $5 hauler. for the creativity on the Double Decker animation. Pure gold. Will a lifetime membership be good when ESPN or NBC hires you? I'm not going to ESPN. Like, I'll tell you what, this is a personal guarantee from me to you, Don. If ESPN comes to me and pays me $45 million to leave like they did Pat McAfee, I'm taking it, okay? But that's not going to ever happen, I promise you. And if it does, I'll reimburse you the lifetime membership. You just email me. This goes for just for just Don. But it's a lifetime of the channel. I'm not going anywhere. I've been here for 20 plus years. This is what I do. The channel is just getting going. You don't have to worry about that. But for the lifetime memberships or for the lifetime of my content that I create. I've been doing this 20 plus years. I don't think I'll ever get rid of my content site. Even if I was to, let's say 15 years from now, and that's the kind of time frame we're talking about. I'm not stepping away from YouTube or video creation for probably double what I've done. 20 years in the business, 20 more, okay? I'll give you 20 more years. Tom Brady quit on you. I won't quit on you. Okay, but my content, I'll probably do content till the day I pass away at 95 years old, trying to click a mouse button and I can't even see straight, and I'm typing and I'm trying to use AI to create my content. Don, I promise you, you're going to get your money's worth at least. Don't worry about it. Appreciate you. ESPN ain't calling. I think I'm probably too rough around the edges for ESPN, to be honest with you. Tyler, appreciate you. PPR redraft, favorite running back in each of 3, 4, 5, 6. Off the top of my head, Gibson 3. Okay, Gibson again in round 4 because he can float into both territories. Walker in 4, 5. I would say, ETN in 4. It probably doesn't go to 5. In 5, I like Breece Hall now. In 6, I like Breece Hall. Swift, I like in 6. Pacheco 6, 7, and there's more. Javonte in 5, 6. Those are probably my favorite off the top of my head, spitballing it. Tyler, appreciate you so much, my guy. Fat Boy, again, thank you so much for your super chat. Raul, my boy Raul says, where's his message? These are a lot more moon men than last year. What's the difference this year? Also, I got the 4th pick in a PPR. Is Austin Eckler a no-brainer? So you obviously just strolled in because the moon men are surprising you. I'm taking Bijan number 1 RB overall. So my answer to you is take Bijan. Are you crazy to go Eckler? No, you're not. But he is 28 years old, and even though Derrick Henry did it last year at 28, Derrick Henry's entering 29. I myself am going to avoid going Eckler at that high of draft capital because I myself am worried about that 28 age season. But I do love Eckler. Per start, he's a monster. If the team decided to use him properly and not give him all the work up the middle, let's say they traded for Jonathan Taylor and did a thunder and lightning. I truly believe Eckler back in a receiving role would allow him to be healthy for one more year. It's not crazy at all. So, I love Eckler. Eckler's phenomenal. There's nothing wrong with Eckler. And especially in best ball where if you miss 3 or 4 games, then you're going to be covered. You know what I'm saying? With all the running back signings, do you rank Bijan over Chase and JJ? It depends. If it's a 3 wide receiver PPR, I'm still going with the wide receiver. If it's a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex, even PPR, I'm going to go Bijan. So G-Man, maybe that's where I kind of shift a little bit because I still would have wavered if it was 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, but still PPR with a flex. I could have said I could go either way. Now I would lean Bijan. And I take Bijan all day long as running back 1 in fantasy football. That's just the way it is. Get ready for it. It's going to be, I think, hard for some people to absorb, especially if they're new to the content. Like, no offense, Raul, it's not a bad thing. You're just getting back into fantasy. We have people that are here 365. We have people that are here for mid-August on. It's just the nature of it, and that's okay. Travis is calling in. Travis, I'm going to put you on mute real quick, or if you could put yourself on mute. I got Travis on the line. I've got Russian Collusion, Marsman Russian Collusion on the line, so hang tight, both of you. Ronnie's $5 hauler, $500 12-team PPR, half PPR. Thoughts on this team? Joe Burrow, A-Rod. I assume this is 1 QB. Pollard, Gibbs, Swift. Fantastic RB room. Love that one. Pacheco, beautiful. G. Willie, JSN, Pickens, Dell, Hyatt, Kincaid, Chigakonkwo. Absolutely love it. I think you did good. I don't think there's any moves to be made. Every single one of those players is kind of undervalued. I guarantee you ESPN did not rank you the number 1 team because they don't see a lot of these guys coming. They don't value rookies like Gibbs and JSN. They don't value Pacheco. They don't value G. Willie. You probably were ranked last or 10th place out of the 12 based on ESPN. I almost guarantee it, because they don't see ahead like we do. And so many people come out of the draft going, God, ESPN didn't give me the good ranking. And so whatever. We'll watch later Chase or Garrett Wilson and Breece. B-men. We'll watch later Chase or Garrett Wilson and Breece. Let's see. Chase or Garrett Wilson and Breece. Give me Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall all day long. I love Garrett Wilson's wide receiver 3-4 to me. Wide receiver 3-4. I think he could finish higher than that. Dare I say, he could maybe, an injury might have to be accounted for that to maybe happen or whatever. But at the end of the day, do I envision him dancing and having cups of coffee with Jamar Chase and JJ all year? I do. Do I think at the end of the day, if everybody's healthy, is he 3 or 2 or 1? I think he's 3. I think he's 3 or 4. I think St. Brown could be 3 or 4. I think Olave could be top 5. I know you're going to say, Smitty, you're running out of top 5. What about Hill? What about Kupp? I'm not saying those guys aren't in the mix too. I'm just saying, could Garrett Wilson be number 3? I'd say he could. And so you get Breece Hall, who's going to come on strong at the end. I absolutely love that. I don't mind that at all. And real quickly, before I go to the guys on the phone line, Devontae Adams returned to practice on Wednesday. That's good news. We'll see, if he continues to be fed hospital balls, but that's really good news. O'Connell could be the saving grace for Adams' value midseason, but how long will it take the Raiders to shift over to O'Connell? O'Connell feels like he's maybe the real deal. I really like him. And it was preseason. It was backups against backups. Let's not get overly excited about the Raiders' defense and what it looks like. This is not that situation where you can make that judgment call with backup players playing backup players. But O'Connell does show poise, mechanics, all the things you want in a quarterback, and I think he should be given a shot. At some point he will. Again, Breece Hall has still dealing with soreness in his knee, and my change in direction today is very minute, but it is win a league. Breece Hall, round 5 or 6. Don't take him in 3 or 4. He's winning you a league in 5 or 6. Dalvin Cook will be a blessing in disguise, because even if he does need something, a little bit of time, which sounds like it could be the case, this will be the best thing for him if he does need a little bit of time. He didn't. Javonte went like this. Breece Hall went like this and maybe leveled on his recovery. Every recovery is different. This is why you can't have blanket statements and take those in. Harvest is an exclusive member. Harvest, thank you for being an exclusive member. Appreciate you, Harvest, for doing that and being a part of the crew. Harvest to the moon. Thank you, Harvest. Moonshot. I promise moonshots or standing ovations for anybody that joins the YouTube exclusive membership right now. Breece Hall, so he's this could be a blessing in disguise. I think mid-season monster is appropriate. Breece Hall, mid-season monster.
The Moon Man.
He's always been on the Moon Man list.
Loads in outer space.
Breece Hall is going to remain on the Moon Man list. We did replace him on the Mars Man because we don't need him on all 3.
Space Monsters.
And to be fair, Moon Man is quite quality enough for him that we had to throw Tony Pollard on the Mars Man list.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars Man.
Pollard season in full effect. Learn about it or get left behind. Okay, that's just how it is. Miles Sanders, the team doesn't know when he'll be back, I believe is what they said. Getting close to returning, but they don't exactly know. He's kind of an avoid for me. I think everybody's a little overhyping Miles Sanders, who feels like an injury risk to me. I don't mind him at the right value. I'm not calling him a total bust. I'm just saying if he's going super high and I've got Walker there or Swift, I'd rather go those players. Jordan Addison is in concussion protocol. Every concussion could lead to a future concussion, but this is not a concern for me yet. This is one concussion, not a big deal. The only thing that would be concerning is, how long he gets behind, but it should be like not even half a week before he's back. And so just monitor the situation. But I think people are overvaluing him a little bit out of the gate. I think he could be very good by midseason, but he's potentially playing like fourth fiddle in a very potent offense, from a throwing perspective. But you've got JJ, you've got Hawkinson, you've got Osborne, who's listed ahead of him, and then Jordan Addison. And then you got Madison, consuming a lot too. So everybody thinks this is such an amazing situation out of the gate. I don't know that it is. I think right from the jump, it could be a little more up and down and choppy. He could have big games, though. He could have in best ball, he could be more attractive than he is in a redraft setting in the beginning of the year. But I do like Addison. He's a talent, but is there a chance that people are going to expect way too much on week 1, then have to bench him in week 2, and then he goes off in week 3, and then you don't have him in your lineup, and it's just kind of a roller coaster? Yeah, because he's a rookie. He's a rookie wide receiver in a very crowded environment. Keaton Mitchell taking first-team reps as J.K. Dobbins has abandoned the ship, and the report is J.K. is coming back or is back or whatever, but J.K. Dobbins, he's going to get left behind. This is a new offense under Todd Monken being developed without J.K. the entire August and the entire offseason. And here we are watching Keaton Mitchell maybe become a little bit of a sleeper in 2023. So buckle up for that. Now we're hitting the phone lines.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Brought to you by, presented by Double DDW, $70 super chatter. Anybody breaks that today, they get their name on this screen and they replace DW. You can try and beat DW and TMT, who tied for gifting 250 exclusive memberships, both individually, during a single live stream. I don't know that that's going to be beaten. I'd love to see someone try, but that in a single live stream was crazy. So that's probably not getting broken this month, but we will have this reset every month. So phone line brought to you by DW and DW and TMT. Appreciate you both, Double D and TMT. And let's hit the phone lines right now. Let's go to Marsman Russian Collusion, who's been waiting patiently on the phone. Go ahead and unmute yourself, but then when I talk, just mute again real quick after that. Go ahead, Collusion.
So first of all, I want to say congratulations to DD and TMT and Double D, because that's awesome. Support the channel. I appreciate that. Respect it. And I'm going to beat all of them tonight. But that'll come later.
Okay.
So, Smitty, I've got the cheat code for Underdog Fantasy Football. Now, don't tell everybody about this, but I'm going to tell you what I did tonight.
Okay.
I had the 5th pick. I want to change it up a little bit. 5th pick, I took Nick Chubb because I know nobody's got that lineup, and I think the lineup is the most important thing when you're talking about underdog best ball. Then I ended up taking Devontae Smith and Fields.
Okay. So Chubb was your first pick. Let's just look at this on paper and we'll see if this is going to break. We're going to see if this is going to break Underdog. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you if I think it will. D. Smith and Fields. Go ahead.
And so I had Chubb, Walker, Smith, and Fields.
Okay.
After that, I took DJ Moore. Then I went Walker. And then I went Pierce.
Okay, hold on 1 second, because so you got Chubb, Smith, Fields, Walker, Moore. That echoes.
Yep. And then I got Pierce. Okay. Dotson.
Okay. Pierce. Dotson. Gotcha. Okay. Mute real quick.
Yep. And then my internet went out, and I ended up auto drafting Watson, which I would have taken at that time.
Are you sure it wasn't your phone?
And yeah, of course. What do you think, Smitty? But
right.
I think that is a cheat code, and you tell me what you think. I think that's the first time enough to know if my team's going somewhere or not.
All right, mute yourself real quick, and then we'll break it down. So I'd say this. I'd say it's the same formula that we've been cranking out. I think, other than I would rather go with a Bijan, and maybe Bijan was gone, but I'd rather go Bijan or Tony Pollard personally. But it's the same formula, just a couple different players and swap outs. I would rather go Garrett Wilson, St. Brown, or maybe even Ridley. But I love Devontae Smith, and if, like I said, A.J. Brown goes down, knock on wood, he's had a lot of knee concerns, cleanups, and all that. Knee issues only get worse. They don't get better when you start cutting away at the meniscus. So Devontae Smith could be a top 5 or 6 wide receiver if that happens. But personally, I would rather have Bijan in one of those wide receivers. I love Fields in 3-4. I try and get him in 4 if I can. I love Walker in 4-5. I try and get him in 5 if I can, but 4 is fine. I do it all the time. DJ Moore really could go in round 4, so you just swap those. It makes sense where you got him. Pierce, I love. I could go Swift, Pierce, Javonte, and then Dotson in 7, Pickens in 7-8. That's definitely the formula. It's just a couple different names, but this is good. This is a really good team. I don't hate it at all. I think it's absolutely amazing. So nice work. Nice work.
So somebody, just what I tried to do is I tried to make it different because I think that's what best ball is.
Yeah, definitely.
Is being a different team. And you could tell that that's a different team.
It's different. David Fink.
To the moon.
David Fink just became a member. Okay. So, Collusion, mute yourself if you could, unless you got one final thought. But I like the team. I think it's great. I think it's definitely versions of it I could come up with that I agree with, and that's why I think we're all kind of following this plan of attack, which is you start off going hero, and then you go you kind of just come in and say round 4, I'm going to take Walker, I'm going to abandon hero running back, and I like this pick here at Walker 4. And that's the way it should be. No one should be walking into a draft, cementing themselves into place and saying, I'm just going to go hero RB. I already committed to it. Let's ride. You should be able to go abort. I'm going Walker in round 4. Or if I start off going, let's say hero running back, and hero running back is when you take one running back, early on, typically in round 1, but you could do hero running back by going like Chase and Pollard, and then Pollard's your only RB for a while. That could be hero 2. You can start it in round 2 by going wide receiver in round 1. But I certainly could see myself going Bijan in round 1, and then in round 2 going, St. Brown or Garrett Wilson or Olave or whatever. Round 3, I abort. Gibbs is sitting there. I can't resist it. I go Gibbs in round 3, and I just abort the plan. So you got to have a flexibility to it. All right, hang tight real quick. Let's go over to Marsman. I believe Rock Out is on the line. Marsman Rock Out. Marsman Rock Out. What's up, my guy?
Yeah, I sent you a DM.
All right, hold on a second, Rock Out. I'm sure Rock Out's got a little beat for us. Hold on, let's see what he did. 12 seconds, perfect.
Don't worry, we got it. Don't worry, we know it. Don't worry, up Mars man, up Moon man, we'll take
Appreciate you, Rock Out, dropping that fire. What, someone's saying stop Okafor in the chat. What are you doing in the chat? Smitty take 32. Chig finishes top 7 tight end. Smitty take 33. Kincaid finishes top 5 tight end. What are we trying to do with this little song and dance you got here, Okafor? Because everyone's telling you to stop in the chat. Are you trying to clown on that I talk too much? Smitty take 30. Kadarius Toney returns to top 10 form. Are you trying to suggest that I say too much? Because let me ask you a question, Okafor. If you had to come out here and talk for an hour and 36 minutes and literally take this probably 2.5 hours every single day, on top of going live when news breaks, on top of going live pretty much 5 graveyard shifts a week, that's 3 shows sometimes 3 live streams a day. What are you going to talk about, Okafor? What are you going to talk about? I'm just curious as you try and clown on, I believe, you try and clown on the fact that Russian collusion drops a $300 wad right in the middle of this. Hold on a second, Okafor. This is secondary compared to what Russian collusion just did.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Russian collusion on the echoing phone line. Did a $300 super chat. Russian, I love you, Russian. Man, the myth, the legend. Russian collusion, everybody. Russian, what do you have to say for yourself? Self. Hello? Russian, 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 Russian. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. I don't know. He's there super chatting in silence. I don't know. Interrupt me at any moment, Russian Collusion. You're muted right now. I don't know if your phone broke, but we appreciate you. $300 hauler on screen. Guess who now sponsors the phone line for the remainder of August until somebody knocks him off? His name's Russian Collusion.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Russian Collusion, I'm changing your name right now as the leading super chatter of August in a single live stream. There he's back. I can hear him.
Let the guy live through tonight. Let all of them live through tonight because I want them to have the respect, and I'll take it over tomorrow.
Don't worry about it. He Double D, first of all, Double D doesn't care about that kind of stuff. He just loves supporting the channel. And he's also on the right side of the screen in the 250 gifted membership. So he's still on here. So don't worry about it. You deserve it. This is not second place trophies. You won. If you're not first, you're last. Russian, I appreciate you. What do you have to say for yourself, Russian?
Did Russian call?
Yeah, Russian.
This is the Russian.
Okafor, no one's talking to you yet. Mute real quick.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Russian Collusion.
No, this is for, Smitty, you always have the best content of anybody. I watch St. Faces football for 30 years now, and you have the best content of anybody. Once these people that come in here and argue about, you don't take care of our conversations in the chat, blah, blah, blah. You're the only person I know that has phone conversations with their people. This is what it is. It's a people thing. And once these people realize that, they'll realize, you know what, I can call Smitty, I can get my information from Smitty, I can call him direct. You are the man, Smitty. And I'm going to mute, so...
Yeah. Hey, Russian, I can't thank you enough for the kind words, number one, the super chat, number two, and for being just there, most importantly, as a loyal follower for a long time and always spreading the word and being such an amazing part of the show. So, Russian Collusion to the moon. Let me put that super chat on screen here. Hold on. Russian Collusion with the $300 hauler, number one super chatter of the month. It will reset in September, but he will be until someone bumps him off. Someone could bump him off in a minute from now, which will be a sad moment. But he won't care because Russian's about the show. But Russian is now the sponsor of the phone line.
Call into the show.
Russian Collusion.
Into the show.
The Russian Collusion, TMT, and Double D phone line. Appreciate you, Russian. All right. Hey, real quickly, Russian, interrupt whenever you want. You obviously have the ability to. I'm sorry, I'm going to leapfrog all of you real quickly to go to Okafor because Okafor's doing something in the chat right here. I don't know what he's trying to say. Okafor, are you trying to say that I just make all these predictions? Because what in the hell am I supposed to talk about for literally 6 hours a day because I live stream longer than you probably are awake every single day? And so do you expect me to talk about 7 things? Because you're only on number 30. I say a lot more things than 35 predictions or 35 statements. What am I supposed to talk about for 6 hours a day, Okafor? You explain to me what my content plan should be going forward. I'm all ears.
See, I'm not making fun of you. Remember I said earlier that if you hit on 70% of your takes, then I drop the biggest super chat you've ever seen?
Yeah.
I'm just listening. Travis.
Yeah, but they're not listed anywhere. They're not listed anywhere. Okay, Okafor, I'll give you that. I won't. I'll take a lap on that one, kind of. But they're not listed anywhere. So in a way, it's kind of in jest or it's in a little bit of humor the way you're writing it. But that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Let's put a lap on there for me, Okafor. I'm hard on you because I think traditionally you've said things that require lap taking, and maybe I jumped to conclusions on this one. So for this one, I'll take the lap. Okafor, the floor is yours. Clean slate, Okafor, go. You're live.
That was it. Travis needs to take a lap, but if anything,
no, I don't need to take a lap. You wouldn't shut up.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Hold on. Let's find out from Travis the true story, the second half of the story, because it sounds like maybe you're feeding me the like doctored up version. So let's go to Russian collusion. We're now entering fantasy football court, ladies and gentlemen. Fantasy football court. Okafor versus Travis Rowe. Travis Rowe is a moderator. He's got authority that maybe have some bias or influence in this situation. But we're going to go ahead and open up the court to this situation because I kind of think maybe something's going on here.
It's time for fantasy football. Court.
Okafor, what are you thinking? You're going to challenge Travis? Are you crazy? I mean, I just need you to do one thing because I can't.
He's the one that abused me.
I can't say when I misspell something. Can you take that off the screen, Smitty, please?
Can you what?
Take that off the screen because it's supposed to say this show equals championships, and as you can see, I was doing it on my phone, and that doesn't work very well. I think I put Chapman chips or something like that.
Oh,
but,
here, let me change it for you.
Let me change it for you. Okafor, I want to hear your argument, and I want Travis to beat you up right now.
Oh, hey, Russian, mute it real quick, Russian, because we got so much feedback. Let's go. I want everybody on the phone line to be muted, but Travis Rowe right now, and we're entering fantasy football court. This is a very serious allegation that Travis Rowe is placing upon the doorstep of Okafor. Okafor came in and maybe lied to your honor and said that, Smitty, I was talking you up. I was doing nothing but good things in the chat. I took a lap because I trusted him. Now Travis Rowe, our moderator, is here telling us that maybe Okafor was up to something he's claiming he wasn't up to. So the floor is Travis's. Everybody else stay muted. Travis, you have 2 minutes to make your case. Go.
I hate to disappoint everyone. It's not nearly as big a deal as it seems to be. I knew what he was doing, and I was going to actually speak up and just tell you what he was doing. But I was trying to let people talk for him. But he kept going in chat. The chat was getting annoyed. So as a moderator, I just said, chill out, stop. And he just kept going and going and going. So I put him on timeout, and I was going to come in and just say, he was doing that. That's his 70%, thing, trying to keep track of you. But I'd already told him, you're pissing off the chat. Do it off the, keep it to yourself or whatever. I don't know. I probably just told him to stop because the chat was going nuts, and I try to keep it so the chat doesn't, so people don't start.
Yeah, if Denny's out there, we could use a expert witness. If Denny's out there, Denny, call in. We could use you right now. Let's go over to Okafor. Travis, thank you for not wasting the court's time. 52 seconds. That's a pretty solid response. Very nicely packed. Now we're going over to Okafor. Okafor, your rebuttal.
Yeah, that seems quite accurate for what happened. Now, chat going crazy. I don't know if I would say that.
Remember, you're under oath.
I didn't see any complaining. I saw comments on the takes every once in a while. Only person that said stop, and this was right before I was about to finish too. I saw a stop in chat, but I was like, I got one or two more takes left.
I think I think I've heard all I need to hear.
That's because I had to delete several. Let's call it profane messages directed at you, so no one would see them.
Whoa! So what we're saying here, Okafor, is you maybe were triggering some people in the chat to be upset by your repeated bold predictions. My predictions are so bold when you repeat them, it pisses people off. So I think that might have been part of the problem.
Trying to protect you, Okafor.
I know, because Okafor, you start repeating some of my bold predictions, people are going to think you're just running your mouth because some of them are so bold. You know what I'm saying? Kind of rubs people the wrong way. You say Kincaid's the next Kelsey, people go, what? Kincaid's the next Kelsey? Okafor, stop saying that in the chat over and over. They can't handle it. You got to deliver it a certain way, Okafor. You're recklessly using the content. I think I've heard all I need to hear. Okafor, are you okay if the chat decides whether you stay on the phone line or not? If they vote thumbs down and the jury of the chat of your peers gives me an overwhelming thumbs down and they hang up on you, are you okay with that verdict? And if they say thumbs up, you stay.
I'm a man of the people, Smitty.
Man of the people.
By the way, I got snacks. I got a vast supply of snacks. So it's just people to remember. When you're making your decision. I'm just saying.
Snacks.
Put that out there.
You have snacks? What does snacks have to do with?
Just saying, when people are voting, just keep that in
How
mind.
are snacks going to help me? How are snacks going to help me? Oh, hold on. Collusion must be there.
Smitty, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Okafor is he's a good guy. He calls it all the time. Can we give him a break tonight and just let him stay on the line?
It's not up to me.
I know that the channel's going to chant what they want to do, but you know what? He made a mistake. Let him learn from it, and let's keep him on because Okafor is a good part of the team here.
I'm in a tough spot here. Okay, mute if you could. It's so tough for me to tell.
Russian.
Yeah, Russian Collusion is such an amazing man. We're gonna let a guy named Russian Collusion decide this potentially in this court of law.
Yeah.
We're letting Russian Collusion determine whether our court system is going to allow Okafor to stay. This one's tough because, look, I got to go against the people. The people have been overwhelmingly throwing thumbs down here. I'm going to have to literally, make this a mistrial at this point.
Oh, my. Oh, my goodness. I think he should stay. I don't think he did anything wrong. He just didn't know that people were sniping at him because I conclude
a mistrial. It definitely helped. I think the court got bought, to be honest. There's some corruption going on here because Russian Collusion dropped a $300 super chat and he just asked me for a favor.
What do you mean corruption? Corruption? Russian collusion?
Yeah, Russian collusion, corruption. All right, hang tight, callers. Let me go over to Travis real quick. Travis, did you have anything you wanted to add? Then I'm going to go to Zach, and then Avi, and then Bobby. Go ahead.
Yeah, first I'm just going to ask, you might have got it, it was probably half an hour ago now. Marty Schultz said you didn't write a message by accident in the super chat, but he just had a question.
Oh,
so, did you cover that, or do you want me to just read it?
No, I got it right here. Marty, thank you. Marty, you still there? Didn't write my message in the super chat, second pick. Okay, here we go. Marty, you just got to let me know. It's hard to see that when you don't include it, but I appreciate you. I don't want to discourage you from ever super chatting again. So we're taking care of you right now. I have the second pick in a 12-team league, 0.5 PPR. Who would you take there at the second overall pick, 0.5? If it's 3 wide receiver, 0.5, I'm going Jamar Chase or JJ. Chase is my number 1 wide receiver. You're not crazy to go Bijan there. That's kind of what I would do if I was going to go RB, or you convinced me, Smitty, these RBs are going to fly off the board, then I could get behind Bijan. He's my number 1 running back. I'm not apologetic for it. It is what it is. Some people can't handle it. Bobby super chatting while he's on the phone line like an absolute monster. Bobby, I'm coming for you. Hang tight. I told you this court's a little corrupt. Like Bobby's next on the phone line. I'm gonna move Bobby to the front. He just super chatted. So end of the day, give me Chase. JJ's most likely 9 times out of 10 going to go number 1 overall. So you're going to get Chase, and I would take Chase, and I'd be smiling all the way to the bank. And then I'd potentially Collusion. I'm adding you. Please just mute it real quick, and then we'll come back over to you. If you need to interrupt for anything, just let me know, and I'll be quiet. But we definitely got to have you muted. This is a very interesting conversation, way of talking to Russian Collusion. It's pretty funny. 0.5. So Chase, give me Chase, Marty. Marty, appreciate your super chat, but if you need RB, don't hesitate to go Bijan and let everybody laugh all they want. I could care less what people say when I go Bijan and people have a problem with it. Russian Collusion, thank you so much for that super chat. Overcome dropped a $5 hauler, says Ron Navy, give up the show for Lent this month. No, he's got a lot going on right now, so prayers up to Ron Navy and the family. So just drop prayer emojis for him if you could. Bobby, appreciate your super chat. I think you're on the phone line right now. Secured trade down from 3 to 7, 14, 23, 34. It's not official, but I have second thoughts. It's a 3 wide receiver PPR flex. Chase at 3, Bijan at 7. First of all, you don't know if you're getting Chase at number 3. But you get Bijan. So you'd be okay, but you'd rather get Bijan at 7 than get him at 3, and so it makes sense to trade down. But you're not even guaranteed Bijan at 7, to be honest with you. You don't know. You don't know what someone could do. They could get cute, and then what do? Then I almost don't like the trade down as much. I love Bijan. But if you get Bijan at number 7, you accomplish what you need to accomplish, and you end up getting that move up. I don't mind it at all. Bobby, is this your super chat? I think it is, right?
Yeah, it's me.
So what was your move up? You moved up from what to what? You traded down from 3 to 7.
So I have the 3 pick, and I traded down to 7. I got his second round, so the 14, so the early second round pick. I kept my early third round, and then I swapped up to the early fourth round, so I took his early fourth round pick.
So you went.
Now the thing is that. Go ahead.
You went from this dotted line here to here, so you got the number 7 overall pick. You moved. What was your pick? You moved what to what? Just tell me what you moved to where.
I went from 3 to 7.
Okay.
And then I went from 18 to 14.
Okay, so you went from 18 to 14. Okay, and then you moved where?
And then I keep my 3, so that's a 23 overall pick.
Okay.
And then I went from 38 to 34 in the fourth.
Okay.
And then I have the early 5th round and a later 6th round.
Okay, so those are nice move ups because this could get you Fields, or it could get you Gibbs, or it could get you somebody important. This could get you Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra versus having to go Olave. I don't know if that's important to you because I love Olave too, but I definitely would rather have Garrett Wilson or St. Brown. And if you end up getting Bijan, at the end of the day, what I would tell you is if you get Bijan at 7 and Garrett Wilson here, that's better than going Jamar Chase here and not getting, let's say, Tony Pollard here. But if you get Chase and Pollard versus Bijan, Garrett Wilson, guess what? It's probably even Steven. So I don't hate it either way. I don't think you're making a mistake going either direction. If you don't get Pollard here, though, because this pick is, it's hard to imagine Pollard falling here, but you never know. If he fell to this territory, Chase and Pollard is equal. But I kind of feel like you have a better chance of getting Bijan at 7 and Garrett Wilson or St. Brown here than getting Pollard here, to go with your Chase. But it's kind of up to you and what your suggested rank on your platform that you're drafting on, what that ADP indicates. If Pollard's top 12 on that platform, and he can be on ESPN, I think, or Yahoo, one of the two, he's ranked a lot higher than he should be. And it's unfortunate, but Chase, Pollard, Bijan, Garrett Wilson would be even Steven, and I'd probably lean, I guess, I don't know. It's really close. I love both of them, bro.
So I do know that I would end up getting Chase at 3 because I know the first guy is probably taking JJ. Well, then again, he might take Chase, but
you don't know anything. You don't know anything, and I don't mean that. I don't mean that disrespectful
I do know
way.
that the second guy, though, just because I asked everybody.
Yeah, but you don't know.
Pretty much, most people told me what they're going for. So I have a high chance of getting Chase at 3.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going back and forth, though, like on my picks, because it is a 3 wide receiver, 2 PPR, or 2 running back, and a flex. So I can start up to 4 wide receivers or 3 running backs. And I'm thinking, if I did end up getting Chase, or I do like the Kelsey build off the top too. But I was going to go, if I went Chase, I'd do Chase and Olave because he's dropped at the end of the second. I'm on ESPN. And Pollard is probably going to go at 12. And then I was thinking too, if I did make the trade, which is originally why I did this, was because I can get Bijan. And if I didn't get Bijan, I was honestly going to go Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra, and then take Gibbs in the third. And Ridley, Watson, they're in the 4th on ESPN right now.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong, bro. You can't go wrong. You just got to ask yourself, this is very simple. You got to ask yourself, do you want Chase or do you want Bijan? Because if you trade out of that 3 pick, you're not getting Jamar Chase. If you don't trade out of it, you're probably not going to have the cojones, and that, I don't mean that disrespectfully either, but just because you would have moved down. So you're not going to be like, oh, screw it, like on draft day, and pull the paper out of your pocket that says, draft Bijan no matter what. You're probably not doing that from the 3 spot. So I'm telling you, you just got to sit down and ask yourself, what player do I want more? Because you're going to own one of them and not the other. Which one are you going to want to watch on Sundays and let that dictate it, because it's even Steven, bro. It's even Steven. It's an absolute good move either way.
So really, I'm not too worried about Chase or Bijan. It's more how I want to structure my team because, Walker's down in the 6th. Hall's down in the 6th to the 7th. I can get London in the 7th. Javonte's 7-8. Pacheco's 7-8. I can get a lot of other running backs down low as well. And then being that it's a 3 wide receiver, it's like, do I stack those early receivers?
Only if it's best player available.
Those running backs up?
Only if it's best player available. You cannot stick to a plan. You can only go in with a loose base strategy based on some mock drafting, based on the ADP data in your specific format and league. You can't take this cookie cutter approach into it. You just got to go with the flow. But if you like what you're talking about, you're not worried about Bijan or Chase. If you really don't worry about it, why wouldn't you want to move your 2nd rounder up? Why wouldn't you want to move your 4th rounder up? If you truly don't care about Bijan or Chase, so that's the only thing I'd tell you, and I leave it at that. And why don't you marinate on that for a second? Let me circle around the phone line. We'll come back, and then if you have a follow up at the end, you can ask me a final question on it. But in general, I'd say if you don't care, then that's probably the best approach to go. Hang tight for me. Yeah.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hang tight though.
I don't know if am I having feedback now or no?
Not. Let's see.
Okay.
Not right now. What did you do different, Russian?
Okay. I started my phone.
Okay.
So one thing I think that what I hear from the person who was just talking was he's talking about people. He's talking about players, right? Mm-hmm. He's not talking about what you talk about, which is best player available. So I think he needs to go back to that, because if he has the 1st or the 7th pick, he still could get Bijan. I don't know what his league format is and stuff, but you can't talk players. You have to talk about the best player at that time of your pick. So don't move up or move back if you think you can get a player that you want a little later in the draft.
Well, Collusion, what he's wanting to...
That's what he talks about all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's trying to tell you right now is don't make a move like this that's going to hurt you in the long run.
Push down, yeah.
And I think you're gonna be fine.
But what he's wanting to do, Collusion, is he's wanting to move up. Thank you, Collusion. He's wanting to move up to 3 to get Chase. To move down to 7 to get Bijan, because he instead of taking Chase, or he'll take Chase at 3. So he's moving down potentially to target Bijan. But what he said is correct, though. If you don't care about Chase or Bijan, and all you care about really, because you love both of them, is that lower portion, moving your 2nd round up, moving your 4th round up, those are all things that are going to put you in a better position to land Walker, to land Gibbs, to land Ridley, to land players that you probably shouldn't be getting, to land Fields, whatever. So ultimately, you just got to ask yourself what, because I think it's close either way. All right, hang tight. Let me circle around the phone line. If you got a follow-up question, definitely hit me. Let's go over to Zach.
Hey, Smitty. Hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
Can I jump in real quick? I got to run.
Yeah, Travis, go ahead.
Sorry about that. No, I was just going to ask, one, it kind of relates to that throwing league too, but one, what do you see Chigakonkwo as now with Burks gone? Does he change? And then 2, is this year any different? I know people stray away from rookie tight ends, but it seems like, Kincaid, Musgrave, I think there was another one I'm not thinking of. And it seems like there may be more, solid to good tight ends this year. I mean, last year it was a complete crapshoot after the first couple. So do you prefer to wait on guys and what do you see as Okonkwo?
We can't
with Burks gone now. So
I like Okonkwo. Burks, by the way, I don't know if we even pulled that up yet. Burks has the LCL injury. Probably looking at LCL is the on the side of the leg. You've got this LCL on the outside of your leg. You have the ACL in the middle. You have the PCL in the middle. You have the MCL, which is on the inside. That's the most painful of the ligaments to tear, by the way. The LCL, it's very, very hard to tear it in half. It's very rare to snap that. You can tear the MCL very badly to the point where you need to have surgery. Most times when you tear your LCL, surgery is not necessarily required because it's very hard to damage it to the point where they have to actually repair it. And if you do, you're in some serious trouble. Normally, you tear your ACL, you snap your ACL in half or your PCL in half, and then you tear your LCL to the point where you need a little bit of surgery, or you tear your MCL to the point where you need a little surgery. A lot of times with ACL tears, as long as the knee doesn't go like sideways or like that, or snap in half like in a crazy way, you a lot of time will just tear your MCL over here on your inside of your knee, and the LCL on the outside, you'll tear it enough to where it can heal without surgery. Burks, I don't know if he's going to need surgery. Doesn't sound like he's going to. He escaped an ACL tear, which is good, although they could find something later. There could be meniscus tear that they didn't suggest or talk about, and that could have happened while we were alive. But he's out for, I would say, a good month. Because if he rushed back, especially the way things are going for him, if he rushed back earlier than a whole month from today or longer, he's just going to get hurt. He just has the vibe of this thing's not going well for him. So Okonkwo certainly has amazing potential, not to mention they have carved out planned play designs for him. They have design plays for him. He just got going at the end of the year. They started getting him on his horse. He's getting better. He's going to continue to get better, and he's got a whole lot of potential. I love everything about Chig Okonkwo, and if I had to identify two tight ends that could be top 5 tight ends outside of the top 10 drafted tight ends, because usually outside of the top 10 tight end finds his way into the top 5 or 6 every single year, it seems, it is Chig Okonkwo, or it is Dalton Kincaid, or it's Cole Kmet. Those are guys that I very, very much love for that hidden gem type of rise at the tight end position. Kincaid is a rookie. Kincaid's a rookie. Laporta's a rookie. Luke Musgrave is a rookie. And usually rookie tight ends have waves of talent and flashes of brilliance, but their rookie season, because the tight end position is different than the wide receiver position, it's different than the running back position, and truly, quarterback used to be similar. Quarterback, you never had a great rookie year as a quarterback. That has now changed too. Tight end is the one that hasn't really caught up and been lights out year one. However, every scenario where we can point fingers at that and say, oh, Hawkinson did really good at week 1. It was like 2 touchdowns and 100 yards, if I remember correctly, Hawkinson. And then he did like nothing the rest of the year. And everybody was down on him. I said he was the breakout tight end of that coming sophomore season. I had him ranked higher than anybody in the industry, according to Fantasy Pros. That helped me rank number 1 at the tight end position that year out of everybody, because he broke out. Waller broke out. Those are 2 of my guys outside of the top 10 that I thought would be in the top 5. They both landed. So if I had to predict who those guys are this year, it would definitely be Cole Kmet 3rd, Kincaid and Okonkwo tied for first place as far as breakout tight ends go. The reason it's different than previous rookie years is situation. Hawkinson didn't have Josh Allen. Luke Musgrave didn't have, who I love and believe in and keep pumping every single day, and people are starting to get behind it now, Jordan Love. Yep. Jordan Love's impressive. He's very impressive. And I've been trying to beat a drum on it for a while, that his own defense continues to talk him up. And Jair Alexander, in a not joking fashion, but it was ridiculous because we know it's not true, but it shows how passionate he is about it and how much he supports his quarterback, said he's the best quarterback in the NFL. We know that's not true. We're not morons. But when Jair Alexander says that over and over, you got to at least say, okay, he's obviously wrong. Jordan Love's not anything close to a top 5 quarterback. But when he says over and over he's the best quarterback, he's the only quarterback I'd want, you know, facing him from a defensive perspective, the respect, the way he's looking at him from his vantage point, he's seeing something that people don't know is coming. And so I really like Jordan Love. He looks poised. He's got weapons galore. The Green Bay Packers may have struggled with Aaron Rodgers at the end there, and that is not telling or indicative as to what Aaron Rodgers is going to do in New York. Sometimes things don't fit anymore. Sometimes players need to move on. Mentally, Aaron Rodgers took a big step forward in terms of wanting to play. He's already committed to 2 years with the New York Jets, and he barely wanted to play one more year for the Green Bay Packers. He rejuvenated himself. There's a lot of reasons why Aaron Rodgers is going to go on to have much success and be maybe a better player than Jordan Love is, when Jordan Love will play better than Aaron Rodgers could have played in Green Bay had Aaron Rodgers returned to Green Bay. Sometimes things don't always make sense and line up the way you think they've got to actually like explain what's going on. Jordan Love's going to ball out. Jordan Love's going to ball out. Luke Musgrave, back on point, is going to be fed. They have a wide receiver room that's very light and thin. They've got Dobbs, and he's potentially, capable of disappointing, but also surprising. I like him a lot, but he did this last offseason. I think he could very much thrive, or he could go away, whatever. Christian Watson, I believe, is 100,000% here to stay. He was targeted like a monster at the beginning of that game. He had 2 catches for 6 yards. Dobbs caught the touchdown pass. I get it, but Christian Watson had a deep ball broken up. He also had an overthrow, which I don't blame on Love. It was placed where it was either incomplete or not, or caught, not intercepted. So people can rip on it all they want, but 2 big plays would have went to Christian Watson. He's looking his direction. Christian Watson is getting spoon-fed. He's 6'4", runs a 4.28 40. Watson to the moon. Dobbs could be really, really good. No one's saying he's not a sleeper. Point is, Luke Musgrave's in a room of pass catchers where there's volume. He's a big boy. Love's going to lean on him. Love's going to make mistakes. Love, even though he's going to be great, is going to look for Musgrave and potentially fast track him. Love Musgrave. Laporta, same thing. Jameson's out for 6 weeks. The wide receiver room's a little light. Laporta thrown to the Wolves. Kincaid catching passes in a place where there's touchdowns just being handed out like candy in Buffalo. So these are 3 very rare situations where a rookie tight end can evolve quicker than normal. And to answer the question at the end of the day, Travis, great question. I know you got to go. Is Kincaid is in a very unique situation and could be the next Travis Kelce. Maybe he's not that up to par and exiting, his first year. He could be like Christian Watson last year, ups and downs, and then boom, goes off at a certain point. And you're like, wow. That could be how his rookie season unfolds, and we have to have patience. And if he doesn't do anything in week 1, if Kincaid catches 2 passes for 12 yards in week 1, the fantasy football landscape, everybody that believes in my Kincaid prediction now, 50% of them will be in the chat saying, Smitty, panic, Kincaid is absolute garbage. What do I do with them? Should I cut him? Hey, Smitty, should I cut Kincaid for Dulcich? We're going to see it all over the place exiting week 1 because no one's listening. Kincaid probably will take some time because he's a rookie, but he's in a great environment to get his feet thrown to the fire and evolve by midseason, and you got to have patience with him. To answer your question, Russian, appreciate you.
Do you think either of those? I know we don't know yet, but it almost seems like those 2, Laporta, Musgrave, they could be like a mid-season monster type, right? That they get going after a while and then take off as the year goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm going to jump. I'll listen to the rest off.
All right.
Thanks, Smitty.
Yeah, appreciate you. Schmitty, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Schmitty. Schmitty to the moon. Moonshot or standing ovation, depending how tired I am. You're getting that every time you subscribe. Any new people subscribing to the channel get a shout out, at the very least. Let's give them a standing O. What am I doing? Lazy bones? All right, I got to go quick because it's 7:24 right now. Let me cycle around the phone line real quick. K Woods, you're live. You got literally 12 seconds, and I'm hanging up, so you better ask quick. Go.
Okay, so I have a 10-man Superflex League, pick 6. For the second round, what should I target? Should I target wide receiver? If there's a wide receiver, should I go Cup, Eckler, Diggs, Falls, Barkley? Should I just take it all and take Garrett Wilson?
Best player available. Best player available, bro. Best player available. There's no targeting a certain player. Like what happens if St. Brown and Garrett? I would just say ranking those guys. Garrett Wilson belongs in round 1. St. Brown belongs in round 1. Tony Pollard, in my opinion, belongs at the 12-13 turn. I like Nick Chubb a lot. He is a top of round 2 guy for me. It's not disrespectful. I think it's very respectful. He didn't score a single touchdown during the final 6 games of the season on the ground when Deshaun Watson entered the game and played the rest of the season. So obviously the offense changed a little bit. Could it return back to Nick Chubb scoring touchdowns? Sure, that's why I'm back in at second round value, but I'm not putting him in round 1, and I think I have more of a case to not put him in round 1 than anybody has a case to put him in round 1, because the last thing we saw was disappointing.
So my bad, just quick another one. So let's say on the board there's Kupp, Eckler, Diggs, Barkley.
In the second round, why would all those guys be available in the second round? Is this a 4-man league or a 3?
It's a 10-man superflex.
Oh, Superflex. Okay, that explains it.
Yes.
Bijan.
Pick 6.
Bijan
probably gets taken.
Over Dynasty?
No, just PPR.
So I don't think Bijan's getting taken over Eckler and Cooper Kupp, bro.
I think the league is really competitive. I think Bijan will probably take the 10-11 turn.
I mean, look, I don't hate Cooper Kupp, but he's risky because he's got the hamstring injury and he's coming back from an ankle tightrope surgery at the age of 30. Now, Tony Pollard had the same tightrope surgery. Tightrope is pretty crazy, but it looks crazy, but it's not. It's very successful, but he's 30. So, and the fact that he's still struggling to get healthy from it, because he was, when he injured his hamstring about a week and a half ago or a week ago, whatever it was, he was not 100%, but there's footage of him sprinting very fast on the sidelines, so I do believe he's getting back to speed. I don't hate that pick. I don't hate that pick in a redraft setting, Superflex. Kupp in round 2 is not too bad. It's worth the risk. I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket with Kupp, but would I draft him in one Superflex league and then the other one go a different direction? Yes. But take Bijan if it's me. I personally think that St. Brown and Garrett Wilson they're riskier, or they're not riskier. They're bolder takes, but I do think Garrett Wilson is going to have a top 3 to 5 season. If you believe Kupp's not a bad pick there. Kelsey would be a fantastic pick there. Bijan, I think, will fall, to be honest with you. And your time is up.
If Bijan falls, I would love to take Bijan. All
right. K Woods,
but if Kupp's there,
call in tomorrow, pal. Appreciate you.
Of course. No worries. Take care.
All right. I got to put a timer up. 10 seconds is a little short, but I'm going to, let's see, stopwatch. You got 30 seconds. And then I'm literally hitting the hang up button. So nobody get mad at me. I'm giving you the rules. Here it is. 30 seconds. Let me pause it here. Let me reset it here. We're going over to Zach. Zach, you have 30 seconds and I'm hitting the button. I'll still answer your question, but I'm actually hanging up on you after 30 seconds. Go.
Okay, no worries. I have an auction draft, and I have this strategy that I'm thinking about implementing. Would you say it's a good strategy to draft Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase for like 70 each, and then just go light at running back, like DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Kenneth Walker, just get a bunch of those guys and have those 2 amazing wide receivers as my 2 wide receivers?
All right. Thank you for the question, and you can listen offline. Appreciate you, Zach. Thank you so much. So Zach's question is done. I'm literally hanging up at 30 seconds, guys. So great job, Zach. Zach to the moon for following instructions. Absolute phenomenal execution. So I'd probably say this. That's called the two-headed monster. Your boy, like, I don't want to say I invented that, the two-headed monster, but definitely was a term I used 20-something years ago. And not a lot of people had mentioned that word. The two-headed monster traditionally is the RBRB. This was when Tomlinson was in the league. It was Marshall, Falk, and Tomlinson, two-headed monster. You spend all you drop your entire wad on Tomlinson and Falk like type player. The number 1 overall player, the number 2 overall player. They're always RBs. They dominated everybody. And I deployed this time and time again. And then I ended up getting like a equivalent to an Aaron Rodgers at $1 or free. I ended up getting a George Pickens type player on top of all that. And if you can do that and people run out of money and you have players that you really shouldn't have, you got a Pacheco and a Pickens and a Tank Dell and potentially an RB that I can think, like a bunch of little Deuce Vaughns. and all that, you could potentially do that with a double wide receiver and or a double running back. The only problem with that, why I would say I wouldn't necessarily go that route this year, is how much of a difference is Garrett Wilson going to be from Jamar Chase or JJ? If you believe it's complete light years ahead of him, if you think St. Brown and Garrett Wilson and Olave and Ridley can't have cups of coffee to the tune of like 50 to 80 points in differential amount of scoring, then if you think it's going to be like 150 points or something like that, then by all means try it. But I'd rather go get Olave for like more than half the price of one. I'd rather go get Ridley for half the price of one, and then go get Gibbs and Walker. And then you have 4 guys. And I don't really, Smitty, approve that strategy with the depth that's at running back and wide receiver and quarterback, all the positions, and tight end. Tight end's deep this year. People that say tight end's always shallow, they don't know what they're talking about. The tight end pool is so deep. Some of our favorite guys are well outside of the top 10 tight ends. So I don't, Smitty, approve this strategy in 2023 because the player pool is so deep. Over to Bobby. Bobby, you got 30 seconds. Go. Bobby, you got 25 seconds. Go.
I think I'm good, honestly. I think I'm going to end up going with the trade. I appreciate it. I'm moving up in the rounds. I'll take best player available in each of those rounds, and that's pretty much the reason why I made the trade anyway.
Bobby, appreciate you.
We're going to go with it.
All right, call in later. Appreciate you, man. Let's go over to Okafor. Okafor, you've got 30 seconds. Go.
So I was going to add to the Treylon Burks thing. I know it said he's out for 1 to 6 or 2 to every 6 weeks or whatever. I was doing some scrolling through Twitter, and I saw that they said his performance might be hurt for the first up to 6 weeks he's back, so just watch out for that, I guess.
Yeah, not to mention he's got breathing issues. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of it or anything, but like this. Look, we gotta be critical of a player, and he's got breathing issues. Thank you, Okafor. You can listen to the response offline. Appreciate you very much, and I'm glad you stayed on the phone line. And thank you for all that you do, even though I'm hard on you sometimes, Okafor. I do appreciate you. Later, pal. Yeah, Burks has got a lot of reasons to say, you know what, I'm going to walk away from this experiment. Breathing issues, kind of disappointing, season last year. Now he's got, potential injury concerns. Knee issues are never great. He's going to be behind in terms of, getting embedded in this offense. Hopkins is there to gobble up targets. Okonkwo is going to get off to a hot start. There's just no reason to go after Treylon Burks. Where are you getting him? Is McKinnon available? I'd rather have a running back named Jerick McKinnon. Are you taking him anywhere near Pickens in round 7? You better not be. And even if, let's say, Tank Dell's on the board in round 15, give me Tank Dell over Treylon Burks, who's got an LCL injury. Like, no thank you. Hawkinson, second in Minnesota, said Overcome. I'm sorry I didn't answer this yet, Overcome. Overcome, are you still here? Hawkinson, second in Minnesota. I would say so. I would say for sure, 100%. Addison is, look, he's got a lot of upside, but he's not ahead of Osborne, essentially. So I don't know that it's possible for him to gain this momentum yet. Could he become the number 2 over Hawkinson? Absolutely could. But at first, Hawkinson will be the number 2 target in Minnesota, in my opinion, anyway. Keith, you got 30 seconds, bro. Go.
Okay, half PPR, 10 team. Here's my team. I want you to tell me what you think. Deshaun Watson, Saquon, Jameer, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Jared Judy, Breece Hall, Jake Moody, Rashad White, George Pickens, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston, Jamal Williams, Rashad Bateman, Daniel Jones. I got 3 receiver, tight end spots, 2 running back. I'm done. Thank you, Smitty.
Hey, that's a really good team. And let me just add real quickly that I don't know that I'm going to take a lap yet on Moody. I said Moody was a sleeper kicker to pick up. He missed both his field goals in the last preseason game. And honestly, I was screaming at the TV. I looked at it and I said, Shanahan, you're going to F me somehow, some way. Because Shanahan is just absolute, just unraveling of everything that you say, predict, go toward, everything. Shanahan's like a curse when it comes to player predictions, and even saying that someone's going to bust, it could go against you because Shanahan's just the reverse of whatever. And I'm sitting there looking at the screen. I swear to you, Moody's lining up the kick, and they drafted this guy really early. He's got a great leg. He's a very good prospect. And I thought the Niners were crazy smart to draft him as early as they did. Would they take him in the 3rd round or 4th round? What was it? It was really early. And I'm sitting there watching the TV right here, and it's sitting right here. And I'm sitting there, and he lines up his first missed kick. I go, he's missing this kick. I know it. Shanks the kick. Son of a... And I'm so pissed. He lines up for a second kick, and I go, he's going to miss it. There's no way he makes this kick. This is like when you got money on the line, and you just know it's going to go the wrong way. And I'm just sitting there watching. Shanks the kick right. It was so far right. I could have went out and smashed that myself. I would have nailed that kick. So I don't know how I feel about Moody right now because it's tied to Shanahan. But that's the only thing I was going to say. Your team's great. Good job. Always look to buy low, sell high as you approach the next weeks and months, and especially going into the season. We'll hit high, low, buy low, sell high all the time. Appreciate you, Keith. Call in any time. I got you in the phone line, and we'll get to your more time for you next time. I'm sorry, bro.
You good, brother?
Avi, I know you haven't talked at all yet. I'll give you 45 seconds, Avi.
I appreciate that, Smitty. It's all good. I love when other people talk. So, Bijan take. Look, I've been a Christian McCaffrey fan since he was at Stanford, and I understand your side of Bijan. I totally think he could be RB1. I would take McCaffrey personally, but in fantasy football, you got to understand people's sides, and I totally get your side about Bijan. So, I want to say one thing to everyone: fantasy football is week to week. Like, things are going to change rapidly throughout the season. We're having a lot of fun right now debating and stuff, but as we get closer, things unfold, and Smitty's the best at changing his point of view. We're going to miss, and we're going to be right. So just listen to Smitty week by week. Stuff always changes.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think the Breece Hall situation is a perfect example of, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way because I don't want anybody to walk away from Breece Hall and think, okay, Smitty's not on board. He's a little shaky. It's kind of like when your general, you're at the front line of a war, and your general turns to you and goes, "I don't know what to do." What do you mean you don't know what to do? You're leading us. Like, I don't want anybody to get that vibe or feeling when I say this, but look, it feels like he's going to start slower than any of us wanted, and we have to accept that. And your pre-Dalvin Cook signing news self is going to be very pissed off that you paid full price for Breece Hall, but it's still going to be okay. You can't sell him low. Hold on to Breece Hall with a kung fu grip. Steve, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Hold on with the kung fu grip. Don't you dare trade Breece Hall on the cheap, but don't think because he's starting slow and Dalvin Cook's there that Dalvin Cook won't get injured because he's older. He's got the shoulder surgery. As I said the other night, they mixed up his MRI with King Tut, who they brought into the hospital. They did an MRI scan on King Tut. They did an MRI scan on Dalvin. They mixed up the files. They couldn't tell whose shoulder was who. Their shoulders look identical, and King Tut's been in a tomb for how many years? This guy's going to get hurt at some point. Okay, he's going to get hurt at some point, and I know people are going to say that's a crazy take. It's not. This guy's been literally put in a coffin. Nails have been nailed in. They walk him off the field. He pops up, runs back onto the field. You're like, oh, I thought he was done for the season. He's always getting banged up and hurt. So if anybody doesn't think, and the schedule at the beginning of the year is so brutal for the New York Jets in terms of the run that they're going to run Dalvin Cook into the ground potentially through the first 4 weeks. This is by design to let Breece Hall get fully unleashed walking into weeks like 4, 5, 6. It could be as late as week 6. But here's the kicker. Even if he gets a slow start, like let's say he has 1 touchdown in the first 3 weeks, 110 total yards in the first 3 weeks, and we're all going, what in the hell? We're buying low. Obviously, he's going to be on the buy low list for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. You're going to hear me going, buy Breece Hall low, buy Breece Hall low, buy Breece Hall low. I might even do a preemptive show on 10,000 times buy Breece Hall, buy Breece Hall, buy Breece Hall, 10,000 times in a row in preparation for the panic that's going to ensue after week 1. Go buy him from every panic Peter out there. But the thing is, his newfound value in round 5 or 6. I'm not saying 4. I like Ridley better in 4. I like Walker better in 4. Doesn't mean I don't love Breece Hall, but this is a business. And we got to make the right decisions and try and roll the dice that Hall will fall to 5. And if he doesn't fall to 5, that's a league. You rolled the dice on it. Didn't work out. You made a smart business decision to go with Walker, and you move on from there. The next draft, you try and roll the dice. If he falls into 5, if you get Breece Hall in 5, you're winning a league. If you get Breece Hall in 5, you're winning a league. Absolutely, plain and simple, no question about it in my mind. I'm not wavering. I'm not a wavering William. I'm not a panicked Peter. I'm not a nostalgic Ned. I'm literally telling you that in my bones, I'm telling you, you're going to win a league if you get Breece Hall in round 5 or 6. And everybody running away from Breece Hall right now at the go forward value, forget about the past. Forget about the past. It means nothing. Don't reflect on the past. They say in psychology, if you look to the past, you're depressed. If you look to the future, you've got anxiety. Let's have anxiety. Let's have anxiety together. Let's go toward the future. Go toward the anxiety light. Let's go get Breece Hall. Okay, all of us. Because we're winning leagues at 5 and 6 round value. Plain and simple. Avi, appreciate you.
Wait, can I say 2 more things?
Sure.
Real quick. So, if you want Breece Hall, set up your team the first 4 weeks, to have Breece Hall on the bench or something. And Justin Fields is quarterback too. Go get Fields, boy.
Yeah, Fields to the moon. All right, appreciate you. I'll be later.
Later.
You definitely you're drafting him in round 5 to set yourself up that way. Okay, let's go ahead and go over to Donnie Bravo. You've got 45 seconds because I haven't let you talk yet. I'm very, very apologetic for that. The show is a busy show. What can I do? Appreciate you. Go, Donnie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to make it quick. So I'm 7th pick, half PPR, 10-team league. I feel like the people that are going to fall to me are Kelsey and Cup. So I wanted to get your opinion on if I should choose Pollard as my first pick, just because I like on the way back that I like the receivers that are available to me. And I feel like if I go with a wide receiver like Cup, I'm not going to be able to get Pollard or Chubb on the way back. So I just wanted your opinion on that.
So your question is going Chubb in round 1? Is that what you said?
Pollard.
Pollard in round 1 or Cup in round 1. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much the wide receivers on round 2 are more favorable to me rather than me going Cup or even Kelsey on the first round. And then when I'm trying to choose a running back in round 2, I'm going to be left with Josh Jacobs or JT.
Yeah, but
I don't want that. You know what I'm saying?
As you hear me preach a lot, and I'm like a broken record with it, but it's not because when I say best player available and you hear me say it over and over, I want you to please understand that leads you down a road of going whatever avenue is the best avenue. It's almost like the gatekeeper of wide receiver, the gatekeeper of running back, the gatekeeper of hero RB or double hero RB or whatever the case may be. Going best player available doesn't eliminate those fun options. It's just the gatekeeper saying, okay, go this way where hero RB is, or go this way where zero running back is, or go this way where running back makes sense. I can't really tell you. All I can tell you is that every time you're on the clock, take the best player available. And if it feels even, then go position, and then that way you're set up with your predictive, analysis of, hey, wide receivers will be good here, running backs will be good here. You got to trust your gut with that. But at the same time, I would say this. I feel like there's no dead zone for wide receiver. There's no dead zone for RB. No matter what analyst tells you there's dead zones. There's not this year. There's no dead zone. There's no dead zone anywhere in fantasy football in 2023. There's not. There's no quarterback dead zone. There's no wide receiver dead zone. There's no running back dead zone. And by the time it dries up, that's what it is. It's the position dried up. It's not that there's a dead zone. There's no more zone. And so for me, I literally, sometimes on my underdog drafts, I'll open up the draft and I'll click my team. I'll look at it, see where the balance is, swipe up, look down the lineup or look down the list and go, who's the best player? Ridley's the best player here no matter what. Ridley, boom. And I love drafting like that because I'm not thinking not overthinking it. I'm taking the best player available. I put myself in the mindset to make sure I wasn't like 0 running backs and 3 wide receivers in that league. I do so many underdog drafts. I needed to see it for a minute, see how the balance was. Then I returned to the draft and I literally just go, who's the best value? Walker's the best value. Punch it. I don't care if I've got 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs and I want 3 wide receivers. I'm taking Walker. He's the best player available. So in general, I'll say Garrett Wilson, St. Brown in 1 is perfect. And if Pollard doesn't fall to your round 2 pick, then, bro, I'll tell you, he's one of the only round 2 guys that I like. I'll be honest, but you go with the double-decker. The double-decker approach is you go Garrett Wilson, you go Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then you go Gibbs and Walker, you go Gibbs, Fields, and Walker, and you have yourself potentially 2 top 10 running backs still. And you have yourself 2 potential top 7 or 8 wide receivers. And you have yourself a potential top 3 quarterback. So there's nothing wrong with Garrett Wilson, St. Brown. Both could be top 5. There's nothing wrong with Gibbs and Walker. Both could be top 10. One could be top 5. And Fields could be number 1. Like, that's a phenomenal build. So don't pigeonhole or put yourself in a box because of position. Just try and make the best educated guess you can. If you've mock drafted and you say to yourself, yeah, I really do love going Pollard here or whatever, then do it, bro. Do what you feel is right. Pollard is a top 12 overall player to me. That's why I did the video yesterday on Tony Pollard. I believe this right now to the core of my being and in my bones. I believe that this guy's got top 5 potential. Will it unfold that way? Will McCarthy ruin the offense, trying to unravel it a little bit and go run heavy instead of letting the balance allow the run to take control? I don't know. There are some red flags with the offense. No red flags with him. He is literally the number 1. He led all running backs in the National Football League in yards after contact. He's an efficient 5-yard per carry monster. I love him at the 12-13 turn. I don't know that I love him at 8, but I love him at the 12-13 turn. And you just got yourself a dilemma. But go best player available. Appreciate you, bro. You can call in tomorrow and we'll discuss it further.
Okay, thank you, Smitty.
Later, Donnie. Grant, you've got 45 seconds.
Yeah, Smitty, real quick. So 49ers drafted Jake Moody in the 3rd round. Questionable decisions based on the offensive line approach, but don't worry. I mean, I don't know if you're a big fan of Tucker, but he missed 2, I think he was 2 for 4 in his preseason game, first ever preseason game, so don't sound the alarm yet. I'm a big Jake Moody guy.
I like him.
Secondly, I listened to your Graveyard show last night, and something that has made me scratch my head all day, and I have my draft tomorrow, is you had Jordan Love above Deshaun Watson. From what I heard, or you're a little bit more high on Jordan Love over Deshaun. For me, that just seems mind-boggling. And I don't know if it's because we haven't seen Jordan Love a lot, but can you explain that a little bit to me? And I'm going to call in tomorrow, but unless you want to talk about that tomorrow,
Yeah.
I was just concerned about that.
So a cost of entry. Cost of entry is included in that comment. Do I take Deshaun Watson in round 10 or 11, or do I just wait for Jordan Love to be my backup quarterback and draft Jordan Love in round 13, 14, wherever the hell he's going to fall depending on your league? Give me Jordan Love. Give me Pickens or whatever wide receiver could fall. Give me McKinnon. Give me that extra player. I don't necessarily believe in Deshaun Watson. You tell me. What's Deshaun Watson done? And I don't mean this in an aggressive way, Grant. I'm just passionate about it.
Yeah.
You tell me what Deshaun Watson's done this offseason to prove that he's going to not do what I said he might do, which is flop on his face a little bit. Be good enough to not be replaced. I'm not saying he's going to be replaced or absolutely bust, but everybody keeps saying he's going to be good this year, Smitty. He's got an offseason to prepare. Last time we saw this offense, he did well the final 2 weeks for sure. Like, he did a lot better, but we have a very small sample size of him bouncing back. Nick Chubb was definitely not the same running back. He did good yards per carry wise. He did good yardage wise, but he scored not one single touchdown on the ground. The offense definitely changed when Deshaun Watson came back. And when can we not be predictive? You know, especially if I'm telling you cost of entry. I'm not saying I draft Jordan Love ahead of Watson, but I want Love on my roster more than I want Watson on my roster. And you know what? I said that about a week and a half ago. I know you heard it last night because I was repeating it last night. But about a week and a half ago or a week ago, whatever it was, I lose track of how many shows we do because we do so many. and it feels like it's all running together. But I said that on a live stream, and the chat went a little bonkers. And they said, "Oh my God, that's a wild take." What do you think people are saying today off of the preseason game? Jordan Love throwing a dime pass over to Dobbs, looking good in the pocket. The commentators talking him up. He looks poised. He's doing. Guess what? Not so crazy right now. And it's not going to be crazier every single week we move into it. Why can't Jordan Love be good? We've seen it. We've heard it. It's not like Deshaun Watson's done anything more to prove your point or whoever's point is that Watson should be over Jordan Love. Oh my God, this is crazy. Love's done more to prove my argument right than anybody else's counter argument for Watson. The only thing people are going to do is say, we haven't seen it yet. It's always uncomfortable until it's not, bro. It's always going to be that way too. Jalen Hurts was a laughing stock to people when we said he's a top, not 5, top 1 to 5 quarterback last year. Steal of drafts in round 6 and 7. People laughed their asses off when we punched that out there over and over and over and beat that drum. It was uncomfortable until it's not. Jordan Love, not saying he's not saying he's Jalen Hurts, but he certainly could be a 7 to 10 quarterback in the National Football League. Not saying he's 7. I'm not necessarily saying he's 10 either. He could be somewhere in between. He could be 7 to 12. That 8 to 14 is a very close-knit group. It could be 25, 30, 40 points to separate number 7 from number 12. So understand the logic here and just say that, okay, he's moving good. He's fluid in the pocket. He's got weapons. He's mobile. He's throwing the football well. He's got a good defense he gets to go against in practice every day. That defense, said good defense, says this guy's the real deal over and over and over. He's leading the boys. The defense loves him. They climb on his back during interviews and get him in a headlock. When do you see that happen? When do you see that happen? This shows support. It shows a lot of underlying support and confidence that this team has in general for Jordan Love. They drafted him really high. There's a lot of pedigree involved there, and he's learned behind Aaron Rodgers for a long period of time, and I sniff no signs of busting for Jordan Love. Love him. Love.
Yeah, I hear you. Again, I'm going to call back tomorrow. I want to chat about some other stuff. But just in terms of this topic, like I'm getting some PTSD vibes from like the 49ers, and this is exactly like what I was hearing at KNBR like all the time about Trey Lance. And, you know, I hear you. I just think my hesitancy is like I think a lot of people have recency bias, and of course I don't think the media helps that with Deshaun Watson. And I'm not saying you are using that as a factor in creating Jordan Love as the cost of entry over Deshaun Watson. I think my only hesitancy is like preseason, I get it, but it's such a small snapshot, and I just haven't seen Jordan Love lead a team yet. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but I think Deshaun Watson still has that dude in him, and I think that, you know.
Why though? Okay, but real quickly, why though? Why do you still feel that? Have you seen anything other than like he did look, like I said, promising at the end of the year? But other than that, I mean, in the offseason, have you seen it? Because he's been spotty in camp, bro. And I think what this comes down to.
Yeah, but we've seen a lot of quarterbacks. Look for perfect example. Look, like Brock Purdy is doing terrible. I mean, he's throwing interceptions 7 days in a row.
I know.
A lot of people don't realize that he's. Huh?
I know, and you should be worried about that.
No, not at all, because if you look at Brock Purdy's interception rate last offseason, it was 5.9%, I want to say, in 2022. He comes in and throws 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, doesn't lose the game until he gets his elbow blown out. So I don't think offseason, when you're throwing against, in which the Cleveland Browns do, their quarterback system is second to none. I mean, they only allowed 196 yards per game. I think they offered like an 83.6 passer rating, something crazy like that. I just think that there's this perception of offseason being the lo and behold, and this is who we're going to put in. But we've seen this always not work out the way that we think it is. If Jordan Love was that guy, Smitty, and I respect your opinion, but he would have been starting last year. They would have got Aaron Rodgers the fuck out of there. And we would have been talking about
not true. If Brock Purdy was that good, he would have started week 1 last year. You can't use that. Until a guy rises into a position, there's paid, there's money amounts and all that. You can't say that. Look. You don't have an opportunity until you have an opportunity. In the case of Aaron Rodgers, it's always been that they've wanted to move on for the last 2 years, and they haven't because they've got Aaron Rodgers there. You're not moving on with Aaron Rodgers on the roster. Come on, man. They've been wanting to move on. But the same logic could be applied. That why did Brock Purdy not start last year? Because he didn't have the opportunity. And maybe they drafted him for a reason. So let's not pretend that they didn't know what they maybe had in him. They drafted him. They drafted him. So let's give credit to the Niners scouting department and everything that goes on there, because you guys have one of the best abilities to go get deep guys like George Kittle, Brock Purdy. You do it over and over and over. It's your GM, or not your GM, your what's his name? What's his name?
John Lynch?
No. Your scouting guy that potentially could be ripped from you next offseason. He should be your GM.
You're not talking about Chris Kubiak, no.
No. The
He
guy.
makes a lot of decisions.
I'm blanking on his name, but somebody in the chat is going to tell me. I'm blanking on his name. What's his name? Somebody tell me his name. Anyway, regardless, bro. Let me just say this. We're 8 minutes in. Okay, we're supposed to be 45 seconds. We're 8 minutes in. Deshaun Watson is not a for sure bust, but people are giving him too much credit to just bounce back, and too many people are playing this. I got to see it happen before I'll give Jordan Love any sort of confidence at all. And that's fine. That's your approach. You're more of a conservative Caleb. There's nothing wrong with Caleb's, bro. We need you. We need you, Grant. We need you, Grant. Okay, but it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean it can't happen. You know, am I taking a bit of a risk? Maybe, but I'm saying the same thing to you, buddy. Watson's been stale for how long? And I don't know that Watson is going to necessarily turn it around and become this absolute monster again. Not to mention the Browns screwed this up because DeAndre Hopkins was there for the taking. You could have paired those two back up together, and I would have been behind Watson to some degree. And they didn't do it. Not Lynch. Adam Peters. Thank you, Alex. Adam Peters. Adam Peters is the reason you have a lot of these late gem talents. And like every part of your coaching tree, which Shanahan does have a good coaching tree, I will tell you. Adam Peters will be ripped from you and potentially be a GM somewhere or whatever. So Adam Peters declined to look for a job or go elsewhere this year. He's trying to build up himself. But Adam Peters is the reason that you guys have a lot of the talent you have. Wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the bigger moves you guys think are John Lynch and Shanahan in terms of even trades are really, really refined by that guy. He's such a good talent evaluator. So Kittle, Purdy, all those guys. All right, hey, I got to go. Grant, call him tomorrow. Appreciate you. Later.
I appreciate you, Smitty.
All right, Russian collusion. Final thoughts.
All right, my man. Reset that clock, will you? It's pissing me off in the background.
I took it off.
All right, so a couple things here. We got midseason monsters. We talked about them tonight. Kincaid and Laporta. They got to be on the list. Come on.
Kincaid's on the Moon Men list. So I don't want to but I don't want to disrespect him and just all of a sudden it's almost like if I was to take him. Not off the Moon Man list, but just throw him on the midseason monster list when he's on the Moon Man list. That there's a reason Breece Hall, that happened with Breece Hall. Breece Hall's on the Moon Man list. He's right here. But we also threw him on the midseason monster list.
As long as we think they're going to start up, you really think Kincaid's going to start out strong? That's my concern.
I think there's a very strong chance he does, and if he doesn't, I don't think it's mid-season. I think it's something very early on, and if it isn't, it isn't. Okay. It's. I preach patience with Kincaid advice.
No, I agree with that. I totally 100% agree with that.
Yeah, there's no setback.
I'm in a dynasty, and this pick that this guy is trying to tell me, I have the number 7, he has the number 2. He's trying to trade me up for the 7 to 2, moving me up to the 2, giving him the 7. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, unless he's thinking he wants Bijan. I'm thinking about taking Bijan at number 2. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, what are you giving up to go to 2? Or are you trying to go down to 7? What are you trying to do?
No, he wants to go. He wants to go up to 7 and me down to 2.
Up to 2. Okay. Well, if I mean, this is again that whole thing of do you want Chase or Bijan for sure? I
want B. I'll take Bijan.
Then I mean, you could probably get him at 7, but it's hard to know, bro. It's really, really hard to know.
Right, but why is he? Why is he asking?
I mean, I don't know.
Who is it? Who is at 7 that he would actually potentially want that bad.
He probably just doesn't want to decide. He probably says, give me Kupp, give me Hill. Sometimes people are so simple that they want the decision to be made for them. So I wouldn't really put it past that. I wouldn't try and overthink it to the point where you're passing on an amazing opportunity if you are not paying. What's the price tag, though, of the move up?
That's it. That's 7 for 2.
Oh, the draft slot, the entire draft slot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the 2 draft slot because you could get.
I could take Bijan. I could take Bijan. I'm thinking in my mind, I could take Bijan if that's the person he wants. I mean, because I can pick up wide receivers later. I'll take Chase. Don't get me wrong, but. Is he moving to 7 because he wants Bijan?
I mean, I don't know, Russian. I would be lying to you if I said I knew. But I would say this. I would say that 2 draft slot is better. That 2 draft slot's better. Why is it better? Because Breece Hall might be there at the end of your your 4th round pick now. Walker's there at the end of your 4th round pick. Fields is going to be there at the end of the 4th round pick. So I like it better. I'd even go Gibbs and freaking, St. Brown or Garrett Wilson fall, obviously, to your 2nd round pick, your late 2nd, you take them. But would I go Bijan, Pollard, Gibbs? If those were the best player available, I'd smash that all day long.
Hey, only if you want to win.
Yeah, only if you want to win. Oh, and then you probably get your Londons and Christian Watsons. You'll get 2 of those guys, or you'll get Ridley. If, their grandmas are sleeping at the wheel and you still get Pickens and Kadarius Toney Sky Moore combination, you'd be fine. Hey, Russian, got to run, but I appreciate your $300 hauler tonight.
I just want to say one more thing, Smitty.
Yeah.
If people don't think that Bijan Pollard are going to be the number 1, 2 next year, they're goddamn crazy.
I appreciate you. Or Gibbs in the mix, but yes, absolutely. Russian, I can't thank you enough for the $300 hauler, but more importantly, I can't thank you enough for the support that you constantly lend to this channel. And you are the man, the myth, the legend. He is Russian Collusion, and you always have a place here on this show, my guy. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, later. Thank you all for the super chats. Thank you. Christian dropping the $10 hauler. Christian, appreciate your $10 hauler. Christian says the following. He says, traded Jacobs, Andrews, and Watson for Pollard. Jacobs, Andrews, and Christian Watson for Pollard, Freiermuth, and Keenan Allen. I love Christian Watson. This is a tough trade for me to necessarily Smitty approve, disapprove. At the end of the day, if Jacobs comes back and is a high-end running back too, it could burn a little bit. But at the end of the day, I like Pollard over Jacobs by a lot. I like Andrews by a lot over Freiermuth. And I like Christian Watson a lot by Keenan Allen. So this is a tough trade for me to evaluate. I'd almost say you already did it. I'd rather try and use Jacobs and something to get Pollard and keep the Andrews and Watson side. So I'm not saying I disapprove it. I'm just saying that I would. It's a complex trade where you're getting kicked in the nuts on one side of it, and then you hit a home run on the other side of it. But it's not one where it's a win-win-win across the board. This is a tough trade to evaluate. Keenan Allen has to stay healthy. Freiermuth has to blow up, and Pollard has to blow up. Jacobs might be a bust or get injured. If Jacobs got injured because he's technically, in a sense, holding out, so to speak, even though he hasn't signed his deal, it could backfire greatly. But I think at the end of the day, I'd be trying to move Jacobs for a Walker. Like, if I could trade Jacobs straight up for Walker, I'd rather have Walker, Andrews, and Christian Watson, if that makes sense. So I'd say I don't Smitty approve the trade. I think it could work out for you, but I'm just being honest, and that's why you're asking me, and that's where my mind goes just for the next trade, is I would approach it different. I would not try and trade all those pieces to try and maneuver that, if you know what I mean. Appreciate every single one of you dropping super chats all night. James dropped the first super chat of the night. James, appreciate you so much for all that you've done and support that you bring to the channel. Anthony, appreciate you. Tanner, appreciate your super chat. Young, appreciate you. Jared, appreciate you. Last Action Hero, appreciate you for your super chat. Chubbs with his super chat. Cortez, thank you so much for your $4.99. Zach, thank you so much for your super chat. $5 hauler from nothing. Appreciate you. That boy dropping a $5 wad on screen. Runner boy, can't thank you enough for all your support. Isaac is always supporting this channel. Isaac to the absolute freaking moon. Isaac, thank you so much for all your support. Runner boy, you too. All of you. Anthony, let's see if this works again. I don't know if Anthony's watching. Anthony says whenever he sees the Kincaid animation, he super chats. So we'll just see if that is true. Axe, thank you. Dawn, appreciate your $5 hauler. Thank you so much, Don. Marty, my man Marty, who super chatted, and I answered your question late, but because you asked it in a separate question, but I still appreciate you. I hope you keep continuing to support the channel. I appreciate you. Kevin, thank you. Rock Out, always appreciate Rock Out. Thank my moderators. I got awesome moderators. Blackbeard, Terry Roberts, Sick Nasty, Vampy in the building, Travis Rowe. If I'm forgetting who's in here that's moderating, I appreciate every single one of you. Kevin, thank you. Rock Out, thank you. Nate Dog to the moon. That boy dropping another one. This one's from David. David, thank you for your super chat. Thank you so much, Smitty. Detroit, Dave here. Don't know if anyone's ever mentioned it, but you have to say you're okay. Yeah, the moonshot. Appreciate that. I want to make sure I covered you. Jacob, thank you for your super chat. David, appreciate your super chat, my guy, with the $5 hauler. Overcome to the moon. I'm overcome by overcome support. Mr. Frost, let's ride. Melvin, appreciate you, my guy. Young, again, appreciate Young and all he contributes. Don, dropping another wad. Tyler, amazing Tyler, appreciate you being here. What a monster. Fat Boy dropping a wad on screen. $10 hauler, thank you. Raul, appreciate you. Raul. This one's from G-Men. Appreciate G-Men. Ronnie, B-Men, and Ronnie. Thank you guys for dropping your super chats. And Russian Collusion dropping the $300 hauler on screen tonight. Can't thank him enough. Overcome, appreciate you. Bobby Boy. Thank you, Bobby, for calling in and dropping your super chat. Overcome again, dropping serious wattage on the screen. Christian, thank you for your $10 hauler. Space Ricky says Kincaid. He's dropping the super chat for Anthony. What a man. Space Ricky, appreciate Space Ricky to the moon. And there he is again, one more time, just to smooth it all out. And he did the same thing. Look at these first-class individuals, Space Ricky and Russian Collusion. Russian Collusion says, pour one out for Anthony and the Kincaid animation. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much. And on that note, let's get Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Skywalker. Kenneth Lightsaber Swinging Skywalker.
And one more super chat from that boy. Says $5 hauler, one for the books. Appreciate you. That boy, you are the man, the myth, the legend. See you all tomorrow. Maybe some graveyard. Maybe a Graveyard Breece Hall show on the Graveyard channel. If you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. That link is right here. The Dynasty YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to this one, but make sure you're also subscribed to this one, because if I go like live randomly tonight, you want to make sure you're subscribed to that Dynasty channel. Also, make sure you are signed up at Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Underdog Fantasy, we draft using Underdog Fantasy, and if you're not signed up ahead of time, it takes you like 2 minutes. Just click this link. I'm dropping that link in the description, or the live chat. It's also in the description of pretty much every video. Click the Underdog link or use code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. And if you want to draft tomorrow night, you need to hit that link and get signed up and have the app ready to go. We got one more super chat from Bobby, who says just secured a higher 6 pick as well. Get breached. Attaboy, Bobby. I knew you'd continue down the road and continue to move up and kick that can down the road. And that's the whole strategy of kicking the can down the road. Nice job. Thank you, Collusion. Thank you, Space Ricky. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Bobby. I'll see you all tomorrow, maybe live tonight late on the Dynasty channel. Not sure on that one. 8 p.m. Eastern every Monday through Friday, live whenever news breaks, and of course the Graveyard shift pretty much most every night at 1 a.m. Eastern. Graveyard crew. See you all tomorrow.